could have put out there is you don't want to have a 12-point lead in the last quarter. He could have really played on that narrative, which...
Well, if that's the case, a clinching, Craig McRae said, hey, boys, this is our time. Yeah. Let's go. Let's throw caution to the wind.
Yeah, they're not frightened, are they?
No.
Not frightened of anyone.
So the other fascinating part about this game, and I spoke earlier about Geelong's forward half pressure now called. That's where their big change in their game has been. You know, we talk about Myers, Close, Gary Rowan, Stengel, even Jeremy Cameron, the way he chases and tackles. They create forward half turnovers. Collingwood are one of the more efficient teams in the competition now. They don't win clearances regularly. They don't win contested football regularly. They win moments, as you mentioned with Taylor Adams. But their moments start from across half-back because they win the ball back through intercept and then they're away. So how much pressure can Geelong apply in their forward half of the ground to try stop that from the prize? So it's sort of, you know, it's two teams' strength going against each other. This is what I love about this game today.
The only concern about that from a Collingwood perspective, though, is in finals, if you try and move the ball too quickly and you turn it over, good sides will make you pay for it.
Were we complaining about that on Thursday night?
No, not at all. 17 lead changes, bring it on. I'm all up for it.
Give me 100-plus points for both teams. We're going to have the best night ever here.
But I think that's where the matchups are going to be so curious because Tom Stewart can't not have an opponent like he did in round 3. They need to get the Tom Hawkins matchup right. They need to get the Jeremy Cameron matchup right. And they need to try and get some sort of dominance in the middle of the ground.
Well, I said this earlier today, Sellers. I think the Cameron matchup needs to be Braden Maynard. Braden Maynard, he played on Charlie Curnow in that round 23 game. Did a pretty good job. I know Charlie Curnow had a number of shots at goal, but I don't see Jeremy Howe or Nathan Murphy being able to go with Jeremy Cameron. Darcy Moore, whether he likes it or not, he's got to play on Tom Hawkins today. That's the only matchup I see happening there. So that's got to happen.
And we know with Jeremy Cameron, I mean, he's more your Toby Green, Dustin Martin type who, obviously, Maynard's done big jobs on in the past. Then he is, you're bearing the square like Tom Hawkins. He's not that at all. So
he kicked 6, Jeremy Cameron, the last time they played. Back in round 3, there's a lot that's changed between now and then. But his matchup on that day was Jeremy Howe and Jack Madgen, who's no longer in the side.
See, I think Maynard loves that sort of challenge. That's the point for him. You've got to give him a challenge or else he's not excited about it. And that's the sort of person you want in your side sometimes. And give him the big job. I'll handle it. I'll do my best. But hasn't got the height.
No.
And he hasn't got the actual toe, the speed with Cameron has. He glides over the ground beautifully. He's a star and looks fantastic with the ball in hand. But you know what? He's enough to bustle, shove. If you watched Sydney last night...
Annoy Jeremy Cameron.
If you watched Sydney last night and watched them in the last few games against Collingwood, they push, they shove, and legally, not illegally, and they make you feel uncomfortable. And Maynard has to do that if he wants to beat Cameron, because he doesn't like being pushed around, doesn't like to be shoved, doesn't like to be pushed over the line. And it happened last night a lot. And then it happened against Collingwood and couple of weeks before, again and again, and no one likes it.
Selection was interesting for the Cats, so they leave out Mark O'Connor, who's now the Medi sub. So O'Connor and Nathan Kruger, who plays against his whole team for the first time in just his 6th game. He's had wretched luck with injury, and so Kruger an unusual sub for Collingwood. But the fact that the Cats leave out Parfitt and also O'Connor, who have played so much footy for him, not just this year, but over the last couple of seasons. And I know they had to try and get back in Duncan and Jeremy Cameron, but that's a real squeeze for Chris Scott. Yeah,
and that's a good problem to have. I think if you've got selection questions coming into a final series we've got too many players that are good players. That's a great problem. It's getting the right mix. Look, both of those players, Parfitt and O'Connor, could easily be on the field today, but Chris Scott's gone with this mix of players. O'Connor can play back and can go and tag in the middle of the ground. So
is this Rowan's first time back for a while?
He's played the last couple now.
So
it's only his 10th game for the year, but it's been interrupted. He's been in and out.
He's all over the place.
It does create a real issue as to trying to judge what your best team is once you get closer to September, because they've had the luxury of knowing they were going to finish on top. They can manage their minutes for some of their older players like Joel Selwood, Patrick Dangerfield. So it does create that challenge of, hang on, what is our best 22 heading into a qualifying final? And that's where he's asked questions about players like Gary Rowan, who haven't had a great finals record, and does focus in more on the individuals because the collective has been so strong.
You and I spoke about bottom 6. And Sydney's bottom 6 last night performed really, really well.
Well, Melbourne's bottom 6.
Yeah, they didn't perform well. No. But, okay, so this year, and another change with Geelong, is their bottom 6 players have improved. And I think that's really, really important. Like, Tom Atkins, for example. He's become
taken the path
become a really important player. Zach Guthrie has improved as a player. Now that's just two players that we're mentioning here that have really improved their performance, and that's why I think Geelong have improved as a team.
Well, Sam DeConning's a perfect example. Huge improvement.
Yeah.
So there's only two Geelong players today playing in their first final. Sam DeConning's one. The other one is Tyson Stengel, of course, becoming the first listed free agent to ever be named in the All-Australian team. So 2 for Geelong. There are 6 players for Collingwood in their first final. Johnson, Nick Dacos, Ginnivan, McCreery, Nathan Murphy, and, of course, Nathan Kruger, the sub.
Can we just touch on Joel Selwood? His 38th final. That's nearly 2 years of football that he's played in finals football.
A 19-18 record in those games. So
well, he's got 3 premierships involved in those 38 games as well.
Yep, that's an awful long time, isn't it? Just almost two full seasons extra.
Seasons.
It's actually interesting whether or not Geelong are bruised by those losses, 18 and 19.
I think they're different, Sellers.
Yeah, I know they are different than they were. I understand that completely, but they wouldn't want it to happen again.
No, I agree with that.
We will get a word from the Cats in just a moment, but I want to be here for this as Scott Pendlebury leads Collingwood onto the MCG. He was the man judged by his peers at the AFLPA Awards as the best captain in the competition. Scott Pendlebury, a premiership player. He's one of just 2 out there for Collingwood alongside his great mate in Steele Sidebottom, who helps the mascot, and the else kicker that's running out with the Collingwood team through the banner. And Collingwood predominantly in black with the white stripes and the black shorts on, finishing 4th on the premiership table at the end of the home and away season. A hell of a ride under first-year coach Craig McRae. They were 17th last year, second bottom with just 6 wins, and they run out here in a qualifying final to try and book a place straight through in a preliminary final. There is no late change for the Magpies. Tay Adams is back, hasn't played since round 20, but he was picked on Thursday night. The unlucky 2, McRae and Henry, go out of the Collingwood team.
Look, I can't wait. There would be, what are we thinking, probably 75 in here already?
A lot of them are in their seats
so
early.
Many people in this crowd.
We're 15 minutes away from the bounce, and don't worry about having sort of one more at the pub. People are here to see the teams run out.
Well, look, we've missed finals. This is where finals football should be played at the MCG. We've missed it over the last couple of years, Sellers.
Sure.
You've played many finals here. I've been lucky enough to play finals here. It's got a different feeling, this place in finals, the MCG.
Well, it's an arena around the world that's respected by all countries and whatever you want to do. I mean, 110, 112, 116,000 have entered this place at different times, and the amphitheatre is enormous, just enormous, and the power of the crowd is extraordinary. It drives you sometimes, but you know what, remember, you can still hear your teammates when you play. If you concentrate well enough and all those sorts of things. It's such an interesting place. These sides are totally different. We've got a young side, 9 under 50 games in the Collingwood side. It's amazing they've got to this point. They've won 12 games or 13 games straight in this season. They started off a bit shaky. They weren't perfect at what they did, but they also mowed them down a bit with the moments business. And I love that word, the moments business, because that's what it's about. And they've worked on it, and they do it every day. They practice what they do at the 5 minutes to go. They practice what they do at a centre bounce. They practice what they do half back. They just practice on the movement and the moments of games. And I think it's held them in good stead, because when you play up against Geelong, they're probably the best. They've run 18 games this season. They've been enormous final side for a long time without a victory and without a flag for 11 years. This is 11 years since they won the last flag, and they want to be there again. So, interesting times.
Here they come. Joel Selwood stands at the top of the race, about to lead the Cats out onto the ground. The cheer squad with the guard of honour. The banner is up. And here comes Joel Selwood and the Cats onto the G for another big-time final. 13 wins in a row for the Cats, but their finals record shaky since their last premiership. Just 7 wins in 22 finals, but it's the week 1 finals in particular where they've come undone. They're 1-8 in the first week of the final series, including their qualies and elimination finals since their last flag. Joel Selwood leads them through the banner. Geelong and the famous hoops in the white shorts, though, as we so often see them in September.
And already 2 underdogs have won. Could it be 3 in a row? With the Pies doing that. The big ones to watch there are Jeremy Cameron and Stewart. That's the big one for the Pies. If they can get off the leash, and in round 3, Stewart had 29 possessions and 13 intercept marks. Now, seriously, that has to be looked after, have to be put down, have to put someone on him who knocks him over. And then Cameron the same. He destroyed him up forward in round 3. So, to me, there's a few things to fix for the Pies, but gee whiz, I love what Geelong have done this year. They've destroyed most sides they play. They're strong. They only got 3 players under 50 games to 9 from the Pies. So young Pies versus the mature Cats. Who's going to win it? I don't know.
Both teams out on the ground. The full preview coming up shortly with Sellers and Rammer. But let's get inside the Geelong camp. Tim Hodges is downstairs with Sean Grigg.
Corbin, great to head into the Geelong camp. Sean Grigg, the assistant coach, has been good enough to join us. Sean, thanks for your time. So close to the bounce. 13 straight wins. How is the confidence in this camp heading into such a massive game?
Yeah, well, for us, it's just been about the continual improvement throughout the year. You know, there's been a lot of talk about the change in a little bit of the style we've been playing. So for us, we haven't thought that we've been fully rolling yet. So it's just that continual improvement that we want to keep going.
But you know what it takes to win finals, to win big finals, to win at the MCG. What can you do to help this team get over the line today?
Oh, it's just about instilling them with belief in the system, belief in their own strengths as individuals. And you know, we've seen over the last 2 nights of finals, it's the fundamentals of footy, which is fantastic. Whoever does that long enough will end up winning.
But you have a lot of veterans, but you're a wise old head. Do you talk to them about that intensity and ram home, that things pick up so much more compared to what they copped 2 weeks ago on home and away footy?
Yeah, we're really fortunate enough to have that experienced group and enough injection of youth as well with that enthusiasm. You know, we've got some young guys, Max Holmes and Sam de Koning, Brad Close, Tyson Stengel, those guys that bring that bubble around the wily old veterans as well. So, you know, we're really looking forward to it. MCG, sun's out, good.
And you spoke about the youth. I heard Eddie Betts speak the other night. He said the young blokes now own this team. The old blokes, the Dangerfields, the Hawkins, the Selwoods, they know they just have to turn up, do their role, that the young blokes are now up to it. Is that how you feel it is?
That's how we want it to be, yeah. We want to instill those young guys with belief that, you know, when they have their moment, they're good enough. And we don't want to rely on, you know, sort of Selwood, Dangerfield all the time. Yes, we want to call on them because they're bloody good players and they can do some damage in big moments, but we want to share the load, and we've given some guys some opportunities and they've taken it.
Patrick Dangerfield, you mentioned again, the biggest month of his career potentially ahead of him. How do you see him? What are you seeing downstairs? Can you tell us about sort of his mood heading into such a big game and what could be such a big month for him chasing that elusive premiership?
Yeah, I mean, his preparation's been really, really good to set him up for a good September. You know, he's missed a bit of time with that tight calf throughout the year, and we didn't rush him back. That was by design, that he could get some really high quality work in to set himself up. The way he plays his footy, that combative style, it's very hard to maintain for a whole year, as you could imagine. So we feel like he's primed, ready to go. He's confident in what he needs to do, and he's confident within our system.
And ditto with Jeremy Cameron back in this team. What are you seeing? Are you confident his body holds together and he's done the job against Collingwood in September before? Do you think he's in for a big one?
If we give him enough supply, he's a fantastic player. Him and Hawke, they're a dangerous duo, and the way he trained on Wednesday was exciting. He was bouncy and up and about, and you know, for us coaches watching him up there, it's pretty good to watch. How
good is it to have finals footy back at the MCG, first time since 2019? You know that well. I mean, it is a great cauldron. It's going to be an unbelievable crowd. Look, what do you tell you, especially the young cats, of what to expect over the next few hours?
Yeah, well, my sort of experience and advice to them is when you run out, enjoy it. Look around, soak it in. There's plenty of teams and players that would, wish they could be in their shoes. So actually embrace it, because you can't shut it out. So it's such a special time to be playing footy, and once you cross the line, soak it all up, then get stuck in your role and let it rip.
Do you wish you were still in their shoes?
No, the game's passed me by, definitely. A bit too slow, but I got some good seats, and I'm really looking forward to the challenge.
It's awesome for you to join us so close to the bounce of the ball. All the best today.
Thanks, Logic. Cheers.
There you go, Corbin. Sean Grigg, so close to the bounce. It's fantastic to let us into the Cats camp.
Absolutely. We'll come back to you shortly, Hodgie, after the toss of the coin. The preliminary warm-ups continue, both the Cats and the Pies out on the MCG. There's no late change, Geelong and Collingwood, for a place in a preliminary final. The final word from Mark McClure and Adam Romanascus. What are we in for? 10 minutes away from the bounce.
Well, it's not about coaches anymore with the players. It's about owning what you do on the ground and being part of a team that sort of you have to win. It's sort of that's the only thing. There's a win and loss, and there's just nothing in between. And when you have a look at this crowd, it's thick as now. Rama, have a look at it. It's unbelievable, right through the whole stadium. And I love the way that Collingwood have actually performed this year. They've grown up. They've got some real spunk about them. How they play and when they play and what they do. I love what they do, but they're up against the champs, really. The club that's been in finals for so many times, haven't won the grand final for 11 years, haven't been in there all the time, got beat by 87, well, long way on grand final day last year, and then all of a sudden you think, we're back up here again, we've got another chance. Well, can they beat Collingwood for a start? The underdogs in this competition so far have won both games, and can it happen again? I think it can. You know what? They're hard to push away, the Pies. They're really hard to push out of the way. They're not scared of whoever you are, but there's certainly some class and a really good team in Geelong.
It's fast starts, I think, for both teams that they'll be looking for.
Who's it more important for, Rama?
I think Geelong, personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do, because I think if Collingwood get their tails up with this crowd and you get the crowd involved, it's just... you lift. The adrenaline just rushes through you as a player, and you're running on top of the ground, and the ball will bounce your way and off you go. So I think Geelong, it's more important because you want to take the wind out of the sail of a couple of these young...
take out the ball.
Yeah, and Sellers has mentioned that they've got 9 players under 50 games of Pies, so there is inexperience in that team. So you want to make them nervous, test them. Sellers talks about testing your opponent often. Geelong got these Geelong players that are experienced in finals. Test your young opponent if you've got a young opponent. Take him to places that that he's not used to, he's not comfortable with. Make him feel uncomfortable in his first, second, third finals. So the Cats, I think, if they play what we've seen this year, that's more than good enough. Okay. But I mentioned it earlier about this forward half pressure. This is the new part of Geelong that we're seeing, and it comes with quicker ball movement, which is easy to see. But it's this forward half pressure and applying and creating turnover in the forward half of the ground, which I think is critical to this end result.
Are their kids at Geelong better than Dacos? Are they better than the kids at the Dacos boys and all the young blokes at Collingwood? I don't see that. I think that the Dacos kids and the Collingwood kids are much better than any of the youth at Geelong.
I think Max Holmes is a very good player, very underrated. I think
Henry.
I think Sam de Koning's a very good player. Jack Henry's a very good player. But then you flip that around. At Geelong senior players, are they better than Collingwood senior players? Well, absolutely. If you throw it around that way.
Yeah.
So, but in saying that, we speak about bottom sixes. Bottom sixes in finals are so important. And I think Geelong's bottom sixes continue to improve as this year's played out. Collingwood will want to be efficient in their movement of the ball. Again, I spoke about it a little bit earlier. They don't necessarily win contested possession, clearances, and the like, but they move the ball from one end of the ground through dash and dare better than most teams in the competition. Taylor Adams referenced the moments in games. Moments are harder to realise in finals, trust me, because if you muck up that moment, they're magnified so much more, so much more in particularly at the MCG. So, yep, go for it, but at the same time, you don't want to make too many mistakes in a final.
And that's the thing, isn't it? There's nowhere to hide. Everyone sees everything. Yeah. And it's as much as the moments seized, as sometimes it is the moments that slip through your fingertips and expose your vulnerability. So Geelong have 315 games of finals experience, Collingwood with 127. So you've both been a part of it. How does it change out there for the players that haven't experienced finals footy?
Oh, well, I think as a younger player, you're leaning on your older players, I think initially. But at the same time, I was told when I was very young playing in my first couple of finals, try to inspire your old teammates.
Exactly.
Do something early in the game that's going to help. And then your older teammate will trust you all of a sudden.
It's about the first contest. Yeah. If you don't hit it hard, guess what? They'll keep coming at you.
They'll come at you harder.
They'll come at you harder and harder and harder. And everyone knows And you don't want to embarrass yourself, I can assure you.
The Cats are 48 games more experience per player, so average 161 per player for Geelong. For Collingwood, it's 113, and they're 2 years older per player.
Big gap.
You know what that
Big
means?
gap.
But you know what that means? Nothing.
Oh.
I'm telling you, it means nothing, and it doesn't mean anything, mate. I'm telling you. They haven't won any finals either. They've played a lot. They haven't won many.
Mark McClure certainly has, a three-time premiership player alongside fellow premiership player in Adam Ramanauskas. Unfortunately, still part of Essendon's last premiership winning team. They'll be in the experts chair this afternoon for us. It's Geelong and Collingwood. The two teams are lined up for the anthem. The first qualifying final is upon us. The MCG is packed. Let's kick it down to the MC.
Kulin Nation, the traditional owners of the land, we gather on today and pay our respects to our elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge we play our great game on this land and respect the cultures of all First Peoples, their contribution to our nation and contribution to the game of Australian rules football. We now invite you to turn your attention to the big screens for the Welcome to Country.
I'd like to start off by acknowledging that today we are meeting on the lands of my ancestors, the Wurundjeri people, and I'd like to take this opportunity to pay my respects to my elders, both past, present and emerging, elders nations, but I particularly want to pay my respects to everyone gathered here today. Wominjeka welcome. Wurundjeri Balik Yiminkundi Bik. The Wurundjeri people welcome everyone to land today. Wurundjeri no Budambor War Kondinak Nak Dubadam Bik Bolik Bor Tilikan. The Wurundjeri people want to look after and protect the land as they did on before. Wurundjeri country extends from the inner city of Melbourne. It goes across the mountains of the Great Dividing Range, west to the Werribee River, south to the Mordialloc Creek and east to Mount Baw. And while you're on Wurundjeri country, you're most welcome to the traditional lands and the waterways of the Wurundjeri people. So Wominjeka welcome, enjoy the game.
Would you now please rise and join with the coaches, players and umpires for the Australian National Anthem, performed today by the wonderful Bobby Fox.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The best sound in all the sports.
What a roar that was.
Oh, they were forecasting 90,000. If there's 10,000 people looking for a seat, I don't know where you're going to go.
And that was for the singer.
There is 95,000 plus at the MCG. It's hard to spot any vacant seats in any blocks anywhere. And a chance for the winner here to go straight through to a home preliminary final back at this house of history. And they won't leave, obviously, with the grand final and the prelim to come. Two of the most experienced, decorated captains in the game about to meet in the middle of the G. Joel Selwood, who's captained more games than anyone else in VFL, AFL history. And Scott Pendlebury, who won a Norm Smith medal on this ground back in 2020, shakes the hand of Joel Selwood. They played so much footy against one another and they embrace with a hug in the middle of the G. Geelong, 13 straight wins. Collingwood have won 12 of their last 13 with only a loss to Sydney, the team that they're hoping to join in the Final Four. Tim Hodges is with us in the front row. Hodgie, it's incredible up here. I can only imagine what it's like at ground level.
Corbin, it's fantastic to be here. Scott Pendlebury, first of all, won the toss. The Magpies will kick to the city end. Very minimal wind to speak of. It is a privilege to be on the boundary today. The crowd is a monster. Now, the MCC are expecting 90,000 plus, and they say it could hit 95,000 if everyone turns up. It is a grand final-like crowd, the most spectacular atmosphere. How's the food for thought? This would be some sort of time slot for a grand final, wouldn't it? A 4:35 start. Now, it was supposed to rain today, but it's been a perfect afternoon in Melbourne. It's wickedly cold, I will add, but just ideal conditions for football. Repeating the news earlier, no late changes. The medical sub for the Cats, Mark O'Connor. For the Magpies, a real roughie, Nathan Kruger is the medical sub after 19 weeks on the sidelines. It is awesome to be on the boundary. Good calling to you. I hope this is some sort of game of footy.
And this is how far Geelong have come, Corb. Selwood and Dangerfield both starting on the bench for the Cats.
Unbelievable.
Just amazing. Their midfield at the moment, Cam Guthrie, Blitzarves and Tom Atkins in there.
The best team in the regular season of 2022, the Geelong Cats, 2 games clear on top, up against the best story of the season. The most clutch team we've ever seen, the Collingwood Magpies, for a spot in the prelim. On Grandstand AFL, you're with Matt Clinch.
The best footy is September footy, and we're underway at the MCG. Stanley goes early against Cameron, lands awkwardly. Ball spills out towards Ginnivan, can't take it. To go around the footy. Cam Guthrie at the back into the square. Hand pass to Blitzhouse, tackle to the turf. There's nowhere to go. Mark Blitzhouse start alongside DeGoey.
Young, give him just put a little kick out, just push it out in front of DeGoey and those guys.
Stanley wins down the tap, just short of half forward for the Pies. Gathered by Atkins, hand pass into the middle of the ground, awkward bouncing ball for Jezza Cameron, taken high. He'll get the free kick as Maynard's tackle was over the shoulder.
His right hammy looks okay, kicks off his preferred left boot inside 50, and it's Gary Rowan who takes the mark at right half forward for the Cats. And what a start for this man. Rowan, who has had some mediocre finals across the journey, just 5 disposals in the 2 grannies that he's played. He has a chance to kick the opener here.
Just pushed Jeremy Howe easily under that ball there. Just a tiny bit of body contact. Nice mark.
He's reflected Geelong's gap between the regular season and finals time. Gary Rowan for a settler. Not to be. Wildly across the goal face. He misses to the left and a behind for the Cats. 80 seconds in, no late change at the G.
Darcy Moore kicks into the back pocket. Nick Dacos takes the mark. First final for him. Short to Crisp, who has it at left half back around the southern wing, and Josh Dacos marks on his chest. Collingwood playing around the boundary line as Lipinski takes the mark. They've almost got it to left half back. He drives the kick around the Shane Warne stand. Underneath it is Myerchev. Almost caught the mark, but Johnson flying from behind marks for Collingwood. Looks up to 50. Elliott's on the lead. Zach Guthrie there with him, spoils it down. Crisp front and centre, tackled by Zach Guthrie. Spills to Elliott, he's brought down. The umpire circles and will ball it up. Blitzhouse and Cam Guthrie laying the tackle. 50 out from Collingwood's goal.
Pies in the black shorts, black and white stripes. Geelong in the white shorts and the hoops. And the yellow Sharon is tossed into the air as Cameron and Stanley go at it. Stanley off his knees, got a hand pass out, but straight to go. He gives it to Pendlebury, the Magpies. Hand pass into the forward pocket. Atkins rides the butt from Myerchev. Lipinski's got him. Huge tackle. Gee, the umpire, a late whistle. Eventually says holding the ball. And a free kick for the Pies in the forward pocket.
Aggressive tackle, wasn't it?
He got through one Atkins in Myerchev, but then Lipinski with the second effort in the tackle, and it was... I think Atkins thought he was going to go across the boundary line, but Lipinski held him in. Terrific tackle, terrific forward pressure.
The first-year Pie, what a stage, what a finish. Hooks it through from the boundary line for the opener. Collingwood in business. 3 minutes in, 1 straight. The Pies lead the Cats 1 behind. Grandstand AFL, Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure.
And Sellers, you look at Collingwood's first build-up into their forward line. It was started with the kick in, but then they chipped along the boundary. It was a slow bit. They dragged Sam de Koning all the way out of Geelong's defensive 50. Then get the ball inside, go to Elliott, get a restart. Then it's a scramble inside forward. That's how they've played their football, the Magpies this year. It hasn't been perfect, hasn't been pretty, but there's an example of the pressure that they're able to apply.
They used the space. That's what they used.
Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure with you. So Howe's gone to Cameron, Moore to Hawkins, Noble to Stengel. Bounce back in the middle after Collingwood kicked the opening goal. Stanley wins down the tap, but it's Pendlebury who almost emerges. Slips over, tackled by Atkins. There's nowhere to go as Cameron's over the top. Pendlebury gets a hand pass away. De Goey's hand pass, missed crisp. He gathers on the wing. Hand pass to Noble. Looks up towards half forward. Lipinski on a long lead. It bounces in front of he and Duncan. And out of play at left half forward for the Pies.
I'm just looking at this Ash Johnson matchup. He took a terrific contested mark. Looks like Zach Guthrie's got that role. He's going to be giving up a little bit of height. Guthrie, it's a good play, Johnson.
And Collingwood by 5 points, thrown back in. Stanley from behind wins down the tap against Cameron. Atkins sockers it off the ground. Ricochets off close. Out to Nick Dacos, run down. Rowan got him, holding the footy. That's a hot call. And Rowan, a chance to redeem himself, takes the free kick on the wing.
Gary Rowan, in his 25th final, and the high kick down to half forward. In from the side, Murphy spoils it down to Noble, trying to hand it back to Murphy, close to the boundary line. Half back for the Pies, throw a blanket over 10 players, umpire circles. Eventually says ball up. Counts to the punt road end in this opening term, and a ball up here 60 metres out from their goal. Shadows now covering the playing arena. Comes down to Guthrie, hand pass to Stengel, back to Guthrie for the Cats. Untidy kick forward, Nick Dacos just bats it out of the defensive arc for Collingwood.
Lipinski's underneath it, but it's going to be too wide, out of bounds on the full. And Mitch Duncan will take the free kick between wing and half forward for the Cats. Collingwood by 5 points, 1 straight 6 to the Cats are behind. Pat Lipinski, the opening goal scorer. Duncan kicks inside 50, Hawkins the target, Murphy comes across. Provides good support for Darcy Moore and spoils the ball out of play. 45 metres out from the Cats' goal at the punt road end.
Mark O'Connor, having played the last 19 games for the Cats, is their Medi sub, dropped from the 22 on Thursday night, and Nathan Kruger back for his first game since Anzac Day, the sub for Collingwood. From the boundary throw-in, Hawkins wins it down. Collingwood at the drop, a few fumbles from Howe, knocks it away to De Goey. Hand pass swatted down by Hawkins. 45 out from the Cats' goal. Guthrie had it, lost it in the tackle from Howe. Spills through to De Goey, tumbles a kick out wide, and Dacos, it's Josh, sees it out of play. So a throw-in between wing and half forward for Geelong. What have you noticed early, Rama? First 6 minutes, Pies by 5.
Well, it's been a scrappy start, really. You know, ball's been on the ground a lot.
Thrown back in, Stanley one down the tap to Blitzhouse, hand pass to Selwood off the bench, down low for Hawkins, can't take the mark, clears here, Murphy gathers, hand pass to Nick Dacos in the left back pocket for Collingwood, looks up towards half back, Cameron sliding down low on his knees, takes the mark.
That was an excellent kick.
Wants to feed the hand pass boundary side to Josh Dacos. Around the wing to Lipinski, southern side of the MCG, inboard to De Goey, slipped over but still claimed the mark. In front of Isaac Smith, wants to keep it moving by hand. Forward to Noble, inside 50, Myercheck and Johnson are there. Getting a hand to it was Stewart, spoiled it down to Buse, clears the defensive 50 but turns it over. And Josh Dacos takes the mark for Collingwood.
His third final. A 1-1 split so far, part of that 2020 series, as Josh Dacos kicks inside the forward arc. They come from all directions. It's Stewart in front. Takes the intercept mark for Geelong.
They've got to do something about this bloke.
Well, the ball's been played on the Shane Warne side, stand of the ground. It's just gone up and down that wing for the first 7.5 minutes.
Stewart to a contest on that wing, slips through to Noble of the Magpies, hand pass to De Goey, gives it to Crisp, 60 out, kicks inside 50, Johnson! Marks in the forward pocket for Collingwood. He'll kick from 15 out, slight angle.
Been a handy player since he's come in, this guy. He's kicked a few goals, lots of goals, but Crisp's work from half back and through the middle of the ground. That pass went 10 foot off the ground, hit him right on the chest. Beautiful kick.
Keep a goal in every game as a Magpie. Just his 7th appearance in a final. He misses.
What's wrong with the drop punt?
Snap it across the body. Got too much on it. Misses near side.
He's such a beautiful drop punt. Set shot.
Opportunity missed for Collingwood. 8 minutes in. Magpies 1-1. Geelong 1 behind. Grandstand AFL.
Tom Stewart with the footy in his hand. Sends it long to the southern side. Blitzhouse the target. Cameron sport it down. Selwood waiting for that. Kicks around the wing. Underneath it, Darcy Moore, who's peeled off against Tom Hawkins, takes the intercepting mark. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Kicks out wide for brother Josh, who takes the mark between wing and half forward. Still 2 good kicks out from goal. He veers out for the right, gains every millimetre, kicks to the pocket, looking for Elliot Myercheck. Elliot flew, couldn't take the mark. Quick hand pass from De Koning, back to Henry, to Smith on the behind line. Ginnivan pressuring him, smothered, great pressure. Jamie Elliott denies him. Number 9 for tackles inside 50 for the AFL, but such a barometer for the Magpies.
Boundary throw in deep forward for the Pies. Adams charging through traffic. Hand pass to Cameron. Shoots goal and misses. Near side of behind for Darcy Cameron. 9 minutes in. Collingwood 1-2. Geelong 1 behind. Pies by 7 points.
Just quickly, Ramos, Selwood and Dangerstone on the bench. Surprise?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I think one of them should definitely start on the ground.
They, of course, have 10 players over 30 years of age. Duncan brings it back in. Hand pass to Smith, back to Duncan. Elliott provided the chase. He gets the kick up to the members' wing. Side bottom dropped the mark against Holmes. Crisp works in for Collingwood. Hand pass to Moore. Kicks inside 50. Johnson and Ginnivan. But in from the side, a great smother. Kolajasny came flying through the air and sees it out of play for a throw-in in the right forward pocket. Collingwood in attack, leading by 7 points.
Just peppering here, Collingwood. Repeat stoppages in their forward 50. A couple of scores, both behinds. Cameron wins it down to Hoskin. Elliott tackled, dispossessed by Kolajasny. Wanted the boundary line. It's deliberate.
8-3 inside 50 Pies way. Been comfortable in that forward line.
Game 301 for Patrick Dangerfield. His Clinchy outline started on the bench. Goes back to Stewart, across the goal mouth to Zach Guthrie. He's off and running. Back flank. Goes with the short pass and finds De Koning, who marks at half-back for Geelong. Collingwood by 7, 11 minutes in.
De Koning long around the Shane Warne stand towards Jezza Cameron. Can't take the mark. Howe in front claims it. A vice-like grip as he takes the mark in front of the impressive forward. Short to Josh Dacos.
About 12 marks to 5, sorry. Collingwood 12-5.
40 disposals to 27, Sellers, as Josh Dacos gains a few metres, kicks inside 50. Myercheck in the pack, can't take the mark. Cam Guthrie tackled by Ginnivan. And a ball up 40 metres out from Collingwood's goal. Tim Hodges.
Just keeping an eye on Jake Kolajasny, who's come off the ground. It looks like a hip injury. It's from that massive spoil on the boundary line before he landed awkwardly. He hobbled to the boundary and he's with the doctor now.
Cameron hooks it down behind McCreary, passing through traffic, can't take it clean. Pack forms, Dangerfield bottom of the pack, tackled by Ginnivan. Up says I'll have it.
The interesting, this game's not in flow yet. The ball, it's been scrappy. Both teams are just up and down the line. Collingwood have had the better of it to start with, so Geelong will want to start winning clean ball and changing lanes.
Rucks both miss it. Clean touch. McCreary hands it to Elliott. Snaps to the behind line. Johnson can't trap it. Henry tackled over the behind line. And through for a minor score. So 3 straight behinds for Collingwood. They're 1-3. Geelong are 1 behind. 12 minutes into the game. Magpies by 8 points.
And they haven't used the members' wing yet.
At all. Both teams. Both teams.
8 inside 50s to 4 Collingwood's way. They've had the last 4 scores of the match. After Gary Rowan kicked the opening behind of proceedings. Duncan plays on to the right back pocket. Sends the Cats up to the southern wing and close in front. Takes an impressive mark against Nick Dacos. Such a barometer in terms of pressure for the Cats. Short around the boundary line to Buse. Still at right half back for Geelong. Decides to send it long in the direction of Blitzavs. Cameron and Rowan are there as well. Maynard got a fist to it and spoils it out of play for a throw-in. Right half forward for the Cats. Collingwood by 8 points. Tim Hodges.
This is warming up for the Kolajasny. He's been taken down to the rooms. It's a right knee issue that's serious enough to take him to the rooms, and Mark O'Connor, the medical sub, is up on the spin bike. It's almost as if he's getting ready to come on, guys.
Thanks, Hodgie. Pies from the stoppage. Chris Spence a hand pass forward. There's a free kick though, and it's going to be for a hard tackle, and you know he's going to get that. It's Joel Selwood. Tackled by Crisp, and will take it on the wing for Geelong. Lays off a hand pass to the run and carry from Smith. The long left footer inside 50. Hawkins the target. Moore spoils. Hawkins gets another look at it. Moore tackles in, taken the ground. Umpire says play on. Comes out the back door Geelong's way. Dangerfield under pressure. Hand pass missed Myers. Josh Dacos to Adams to Quaynor. Stengel got him holding the ball. And Tyson Stengel in his first final The All-Australian wins the footy with a chase-down tackle.
That's the difference in Geelong. Right there, that tackle. The first one missed, the second one got him. Quaynor was trying to take the game on. You can only encourage that. But Geelong have been so good. Stengel, the All-Australian Corp, as you mentioned, terrific tackle there.
You mentioned about the young guys with the inexperience in the finals, about trying to come up with a big moment to inspire your teammates. The 23-year-old who didn't have a home in footy at the start of the year, given a reprieve by the Cats as a ballistic free agent and an All-Australian blazer in his first final from 45 metres out. I'm not sure this is a major as the umpire signalled the touch.
I think it's
signal it was touched on the way through.
On the mark, I think, you're going to have a look at.
We're going to go to the arc, but the goal umpire signalled that it was touched on the way through. And that'll be the soft call. And the video review, not for the first time this weekend, is being called upon. The Cats denied their first goal of the game through Stengel. And the call was that Taylor Adams had touched it off the boot. I'm not sure the video supports that.
No.
He's kicked 46 goals this year too, Stengel.
Looking at this angle, you can see the ball's touched by the right hand of the Collingwood defender. Decision on the scoreboard.
I'm not sure any of us know what we're looking at anymore on the video review, but the guy in the arc knows best.
I'm confused.
It was touched, allegedly, by Tay Adams and a behind for Geelong.
Hot spot on the hand, I think, Cobb.
Gives you an idea on the crowd. That was the roar to signal a behind, so plenty here for Collingwood. Pies by 7, 15 minutes in. Geelong without a goal as yet.
Do they have 3D glasses in the arc? Do they have views we don't see?
Here we go, the ball's at our side.
Received it as Maynard kicked it into the pocket, long towards Cox on the members wing. Hasn't been here too often as Atkins is brought down. Two Pies bring him down in Jordan DeGoey and Will Hoskin-Elliott, and the umpire will throw it up at left half forward for the Cats. Collingwood by 7 points. They've kicked the opening goal of the match. Cox is dragged down by Stanley. Quick kick inside the 50 is offline and out of bounds on the full from Paddy Dangerfield.
Collingwood lead all the statistics with possessions, with clearances, with tackle count, with inside 50. They're on song.
Howe inboard to Nick Dacos, switches play to the left back pocket where Quaynor takes the mark. Spots up Darcy Moore, still inside the defensive 50. And now he looks for options. He's going to switch it back to where it came, back to Howe in the right back pocket under the Olympic stand. Looks up the members wing, drives a long kick towards Sidebottom. He and Holmes battle tight against the boundary, and Holmes reaches over and spoils it out of play for a throw-in.
Jeez, Nick Dacos has settled into his first final. Well, 6 possessions. His brother Josh, 6 possessions.
Yeah, they're good.
No late change leading in. Mark O'Connor and Nathan Kruger, the two subs, and some concern for Jake Kolajasny. The knee complaint of the opening quarter is down in the rooms, and the boundary throw-in. Holmes for the Cats. Hand pass to Myers. He's under the pump. Maynard got him. Forces the turnover. Lipinski to side bottom by hand to Adams. Hand pass to centre half forward. McCreary's onto it. Darting away. Pulls his kick for Myercheck. 1-on-1. Spoil comes over the back from Buse. Knocks it down to the cone. Hands it to Buse. He went without it. Comes back to Johnson. Collingwood onto it. Hand pass to Elliott. He shoots goalward. There's a whistle that's coming back. A free kick for the Cats. On the last line of defence. I missed all of that in amongst the scramble. It's going to be Cam Guthrie who gets it in front of the behind post, but
certainly put some pressure on Collingwood.
Yeah, so
certainly have.
I think holding the ball. Free kick for Cam Guthrie looking at the replay.
I think he paid it as a throw.
Right. Pies by 7, 17 and a half minutes in.
Cam Guthrie short to Buse, who then goes short in the right back pocket, and the mark's taken by Isaac Smith.
A lot of standing by Geelong at the moment.
Forced to drive a long kick around the southern wing. Close and Quaynor compete in the air, and offhands it goes out of play for a boundary throw-in.
Is that because the knees are rattling and the nerves are jingling a little bit?
Maybe, but you look where Isaac Smith takes that mark. You look forward, and you want to see movement. Geelong are just standing there, just saying, we'll kick it to a contest.
Nick Dacos, Josh Dacos, Jordan DeGoey, all with 6 disposals for the Pies. Duncan and Cam Guthrie with 4 for the Cats. A chance for Pendlebury. Sidesteps a few tacklers. Kicks inside 50. Elliott on the second bite claims the mark. Deep in the left forward pocket. He's 35 metres out, but the angle will be tight.
They're pressing Collingwood. They keep pushing it forward. The kicks into the forward line are perfectly weighted. Not too high, not too easy, and on the move. And their movement of ball's been great.
Can he kick him from out here?
Well, I think he kicked one from kick it from the bathroom, I reckon.
Yeah.
His last 5 weeks, 2 goals, 0 goals, 4, 2, 2. But he's shown an ability to deliver it in the moments that matter the most. Deep in the left forward pocket, Jamie Elliott for the Magpies second. Nice kick off the boot, just across the face. They fly on the goal line. A chance for Johnson. It's Myercheck who's pinched it right on the goal line. Johnson and Myercheck in the air, and Brodie Myercheck, quick as a flash, jammed it onto his boot, having been held goalless against the Blues in round 23, having kicked 3 behinds. He delivers Collingwood second. They're 2-3-15 to the Cats, 2 behinds. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Well, guys, you're going to see this. Jake Kolodjasny has just come back from the rooms. That right knee is unbelievably heavily strapped. He tried to run around the boundary before and he just gave up. He couldn't. So you're about to watch him run onto the ground here, and he can barely move. So it is a right knee issue. It's forced him down to the rooms, and this will be staggering that they're just trying to get him out there and see what he can do.
Geelong are 21 possessions behind their opposition. Myercheck just work at the forward line, and just that goal there, they're just overpowering. I mean, every contest they're in, they win the contested ball, they've won the kicking, they've won the tackle count, they've won the lot. And if they keep going this way, they'll win the game.
6-6-6 warning for the Magpies. They lead the game by 13 points. They've kicked the first 2 goals of the quali. Stanley palms it down, but straight to the goalie. Hand pass to Crisp for Collingwood. To Lipinski, back to Crisp. Volleyball spike forward. Hoskin Elliott clean. Snaps goalward. He's offline. He misses a behind. Collingwood 2-4, giving the Cats all they can handle. Geelong 2 behinds. 21 minutes into the opening term of the qualifying final.
Tom Stewart looks to bring Geelong back into play. Straight down the middle he goes, looking for Dangerfield, who takes the mark in front of Quaynor and bounds off half-back. Looking towards half-forward, towards Holmes for Darcy Moore. Takes the intercepting mark. Did Hawkins stand? Moore plays on quickly, goes short to Nick Dacos. Hand pass to the members wing for Sidebottom. Up to Ginnivan. Dangerfield getting back, got a hand to it. Adams gathered, threw the head back. He wasn't taken high, I don't think. And the umpire says gestures, he sort of ducked into the high contact, and a throw in at right half forward for the Pies. They lead by 14 points.
You look at Blitzars, he's really close checking on DeGoey. That's the one that Geelong want to put time in. Keep DeGoey out of this game when he's up on around the ball.
For the boundary throw in, spills down to Adkins for the Cats. He kicks down for Cameron. Unkind bounce. Rowan attacks it head on. Grabs the footy, spun around. Hand pass to Cameron. Cameron on the wing. Hurried kick forward. Bouncing footy to half forward. Out to Mead. Moore. He left it behind for Collingwood. Comes to Quaynor. Hawkins has got him. Gee, every time you touch the footy, there's someone sweating on you, and a ball up here, half forward for the Cats. Collingwood by 14 points. They've kicked the only 2 goals. Time on in the opening quarter. Grandstand AFL.
11-7, the inside 50s Collingwood's way. Mason Cox wins down the tap to Crisp on half back into the middle of the ground. A spiralling ball, which Myercheck's worked underneath by Henry. And Zach Guthrie takes the mark for the Cats. Straight down the middle. Looking for Rowan. He sets himself. Cox came late to spoil. Cam Guthrie trying to run onto it. Nick Dacos got a hand pass to DeGoey, to Josh Dacos, all under pressure from close. Cam Guthrie slides in, gets the hand pass to Howe, clears the fingertips of Atkins. Crisp at half back for Collingwood, tries to knock it on. Hughes for the Cats, hand pass out to Cameron. He hand passes to Selwood, 55 metres out. Blind turns around Lipinski, back to Henry, edge of the centre square, inside 50. Rowan got rid of Sidebottom, couldn't take the mark. Murphy with a hand pass forward. Selwood onto it for the Cats, 50 out. Into the path of Stengel, can't take it. Tackles Ginnivan. Ball spills clear. There's not a centimetre to take as the hand pass comes out from Rowan out to Selwood at left half forward.
Selwood hurried handball to Holmes. Holmes can't pick it up. Noble, a little fumble. Rowan's got him.
Fantastic.
That's just terrific football by both teams.
Crowd on their feet, ball up, 60 out from the Cats' goal. Collingwood's pressure red hot, and the Cats matching them.
Yeah, Geelong trying to surge it inside their forward line. Collingwood just pressure, tackle after tackle, right up in their face. Can't ask for much more in a final.
Genuine September footy as Stanley wins it down. Selwood's got it. Quaynor and Pendlebury lock him up, and a ball up 60 out from the Geelong goal. Still looking for their first. The Magpies by 14 points.
Cox wins down the tap against Stanley. It ricochets back to Mason. Kick is smothered. Blitzhouse tries to get a hand pass away. Selwood over the footy. Can't take it. Side bottom back. Selwood tackled. Chris right in there. Selwood was looking for the high tackle. It didn't come.
He does it all the time.
Oh, come on. That's a high tackle every day of the week.
Well, bad luck. There was 3 umpires around that didn't call. Why?
Ball up 55 metres out from Geelong's goal. Stanley and Mason Cox spills down the way of Atkins. Hand pass to Rowan under immense pressure. He volleys it forward. Close thought it might have been a mark. The umpire says it's not. And a ball up 40 metres out from the Cats' goal at the Punt Road end. Collingwood by 14 points.
Real master and apprentice battle today with Selwood and Ginnivan both out there as Cox palms it down for Collingwood. Noble's kick smothered. Great work, Atkins. Spills to Rowan. Hand pass to Stengel. Myers taps it down to Cameron. Swinging back onto his left boot. The Cats hits the post. Gee, the Geelong fans thought they had their first. And the post denies them. Cameron are behind. They've got
Great
3.
Kick.
Collingwood are 2-4. Pies by 13.
And Collingwood waste no time, moving from one end to the other. Hoskin Elliott moves it forward to Elliott on the wing. Getting forward, Lipinski, he's all on his own. 90,000 can see him. And the mark's taken in the left forward pocket. He's going to dink it over the top. Josh Dacos has kept running. He marks in the left forward pocket, 10 metres closer to goal, but a tighter angle.
So that starts with Darcy Moore. Just quick as grease line. The behind is called and he's away. Take the first option and let's just go, boys. It's one end of the ground to the other within 5 or 6 seconds. Geelong were all at sea, just couldn't set their defence up. There was 3 players free.
In the pocket, Josh Dacos. Who else would you want the footy in the hands of in a pocket but a Dacos? And Collingwood kick their third. The Cats are yet to register one. 25 minutes gone, opening term. Collingwood 3-4-22. The Cats 3 behinds. The margin is 19 points at the 25-minute mark.
Smart work by Darcy Moore. Get it out there quickly in the open. All of a sudden there was they didn't touch the ball from one end to the other. Just went into Dacos' hands and he's an easy kick. That's a soda for him. He's been doing that since he's about 5 in the backyard with his dad. So to me, this is just, they're annihilating them in every part of the game at this stage. Everything that you can see out there and all the statistics they are on top of, and their ball movement is spectacular.
I think the most important one, Collingwood already up to 21 tackles for this quarter, so they're applying enormous pressure to Geelong on every single occasion. When that ball is in a contest, it's just a Collingwood player in a Geelong's face.
Pies by 19. They've kicked the first 3. Cox down to DeGoey, trying to race away from Dangerfield. Slips the tackle, dumps a kick to Crisp. Chris puts them inside 50. Ginnivan flying forward. Did he get a push? No. And Zach Guthrie goes racing away for the Cats. Kicks to the southern wing. Maynard goes up. Can't mark. Scrap on for the footy. Southern side. Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Maynard. To Noble. They win it again. Collingwood. They look on. Hand pass missed Pendlebury. Now Buse is under the pump. Got it for Geelong. Hand pass to Zach Guthrie. High bomb down the southern wing.
Brother Cam sits underneath it. Cameron, that's Jeremy in from the side. Can't take it. Noble for Collingwood. Back to Darcy Moore. Hand pass to Crisp. Little fumble. That's not the moment for that. Selwood lays the tackle with Stengel's support. And the umpire will ball it up.
No, that's a fair mark to Zach Guthrie. Ginnivan just threw himself forward.
We're going to get a lot of moments like that. Dangerfield got it from the tap down, kicked inside 50. Jezza Cameron brings it down, 1-2. Cameron on the run this time.
There he is.
Beautiful hand pass from Myers, and Jezza did the rest. Geelong are on the board after 27 minutes, 1-3-9 to the Pies, 3-4-22. 27 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
What's the work out of the contest? So get the ball forward and get it inside. Now Myers, I don't know who his direct opponent is, but he floated into that forward 50 with that one. I think it may have been John Noble. Ball spills in that marking contest. Myers is there, gives an easy little handball to Jeremy Cameron, and he loves them. He loves them around the corner kicks. He's so good at those, Jeremy Cameron. Now that's goal number 60 for the year for Cameron, having just one of those special years of football.
Kicked 6 last time they met. He's got a poster and a goal in similar fashion to start the game. And at last, the Cats with their first 27 minutes in. Collingwood lead it by 13. The Rucks go at it back in the middle. Stanley and Cox, no clean takeaway. Adams and Dangerfield scrap for it. Umpire circles, or holding the ball. Said Adams dragged it in. Free kick Geelong.
Why aren't they bouncing the ball?
I think it might be a bit soft in there, fellas.
Okay.
And Adams took an eternity, but finally gets up with the footy. There's a free kick here off the ball. It's going Collingwood's way. Free kick's been reversed.
Here we go.
Pies a chance on the counter-attack. Adams out of the middle. Kicks to centre-half forward. Knocked down by Kolajasny. Stewart, hand pass to De Koning. Gives it to Henry. Short kick to Holmes. Takes the mark half back for the Cats.
I might just cross down to Tim Hodges on the boundary. So that sub's been made, Hodgie?
No, Mark O'Connor is around the boundary warming up. Jake Kolajasny is still out there. He's soldiering on, but I'm not sure how much longer he can stay out there.
Thanks, Hodgie. Maynard wins it for Collingwood on the members' wing. Kicks down forward. A half volley for Taylor Adams. He gathers, tackled, worked the half pass back to Pendlebury around the body. The kick over the head of Hoskin Elliott and Kolajasny. Kolajasny tackled to the turf by Hoskin Elliott. It spills to Ginnivan into the pocket. He kicks for Elliott. Protected the space beautifully. And there was little too he could do to try and get a fist onto it.
I think you're better off making the call on Kolajasny. He just couldn't turn in that contest. Then gets taken to the ground. He's got up very ginger. An evident limp there. Better off getting Mark O'Connor in because Elliott, Ginnivan, those smaller forwards for Collingwood are starting to do a little bit of damage.
Kicked to behind in the other pocket, this time from the right forward pocket, just misses to the right-hand side. Stepped out and snapped on the left. Collingwood's lead is 14 points, half an hour gone opening term.
15 to 11 inside 50s, and they've had, how many? 8 shots to 4. Amazing.
Stewart has to go short to Dangerfield, still inside the defensive 50, loads up, long drop, punt to the wing, slips through Stanley's hands. At the drop, Cox sockers it away, straight into the bonds of Adams. There's a free for a hold, and Mark Blitzarves took out Pendlebury behind all of that. And so a free kick, an unusual fashion to Pendlebury.
Stanley dropped his head there too, just quietly.
Kicks into the man on the mark. In Blitzarves, ball ricochets out to Noble. Seconds ticking down to the opening term. Noble on the wing for Collingwood. Hand pass to Pendlebury. The smooth mover through traffic. Got a kick away. Trickles to Adams. And that'll do us. Through quarter number 1. In front of 90,000 at least at the MCG. And Collingwood kicking the first 3 goals of the game. They lead it by 14 points. At quarter time, 3-5-23. Geelong 1-3-9. The Magpies by 14 points. And goals for Lipinski, Josh Dacos and Myercheck. While Jeremy Cameron kicked the last of the game. It's Geelong's only goal. Meanwhile, a bit of other fallout from the footy this weekend. James Harms has been offered a $3,000 fine for his collision with Jake Lloyd last night, meaning he's free to play against Brisbane on Friday night in that cutthroat semi-final. So James Harms just a fine for his collision with Jake Lloyd. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Well, this is one to keep an eye on. The Doctor and Jordan De Goey are heading off. That looks like a right hand or right wrist complaint. He's going straight down to the room. So massive from the Magpies. Jordan De Goey heading down to the rooms, being followed by the Doctor and the physio. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm also looking at Mark O'Connor, the Geelong medical sub. Looks like he's doing almost a full warm-up just in case they do trigger Jake Kolajasny, who was struggling so badly with that right knee injury. I mean, he could barely walk around the boundary, guys. Then when it came to running on the ground, you just felt sorry for him. So we'll be fascinated to see what the decision is there with Kolajasny, but also De Goey. That might be an even bigger story.
Thanks, Hodgie. We'll come back to you shortly. Can't wait to hear from Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas next with their take on that opening term. It's Collingwood who lead it by 14 points on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Sport Digital. This is Grandstand, AFL.
To watch the latest stories from ABC News and clips from our current affairs shows online, it's time to go direct to the source. Australia's most reliable news can be found on ABC Radio, the ABC News app and the ABC News website. Download the free app now and stay across local breaking stories, updates and analysis from Australia's most trusted news. What matters to you matters to us, and it's all on the ABC News app and news.abc.net.au.
The 2022 AFL Finals.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The goal, he gives it to Pendlebury, the Magpies. Hand pass into the forward pocket. Atkins rides the butt from Myer's. Lipinski's got him. Huge tackle. Gee, the umpire, a late whistle. Eventually says holding the ball. And a free kick for the Pies in the forward pocket. The first year Pie, what a stage. What a finish. Hooks it through from the boundary line for the opener.
Deep in the left forward pocket. Jamie Elliott for the Magpies second. Nice kick off the boot, just across the face. They fly on the goal line. A chance for Johnson. It's Myercheck who's pinched it right on the goal line. And Collingwood waste no time, moving from one end to the other. Hoskin Elliott moves it forward to Elliott on the wing. Getting forward, Lipinski. He's all on his own. 90,000 can see him. And the mark's taken in the left forward pocket. He's going to dink it over the top. Josh Dacos has kept running in the pocket. Josh Dacos, who else would you want the footy in the hands of in the pocket but a Dacos? And Collingwood kick their third. Dangerfield got it from the tap down, kicked inside 50. Jezza Cameron brings it down 1-2. Cameron on the run this time.
There he is.
Beautiful hand pass from Myers, and Jezza did the rest.
The 2022 AFL Finals.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Sounds of the opening quarter, the first qualifying final. Collingwood by 14 points. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure on Grandstand AFL.
Well, just watching Colin Jasny, he's with James Kelly, his line coach, and all the other defenders. He looks like he's going to continue on in this game. Now, it's an interesting one because I think Collingwood's smaller forwards are starting to get on top. Elliott's had a couple of shots at goals. Lipinski's drifted down. Hoskin Elliott's been dangerous inside forward 50. Ash Johnson, albeit he's not a small forward, he's had an impact down there. It hasn't been Myercheck or Mason Cox or Darcy Cameron when they've been down there. So having O'Connor into the game now might be the way to go. It's, you know, they could simply also roll Jack Henry back, who's played a lot forward in that first quarter to cover if they really, really want to. Blitzards is going to either DeGoey or Pendlebury. So DeGoey goes in the middle of the ground, Blitzards go to him. When DeGoey goes forward, then he goes to Pendlebury. So it's a tough role for Blitzards, but he's done it so well this year. Collingwood's tackle pressure's been enormous. Huge. 21 tackles for that quarter, albeit Geelong had 19. It just felt like Collingwood was so much more in Geelong's face in that quarter. There was a big scrap just in front of us on the half-forward flank here where Collingwood, 6-7 efforts just to continue to get the ball to ground. They didn't allow Geelong the breathing space to get it on the boot, to get it inside forward 50, create another stoppage, go again. That's one thing that we haven't given Collingwood enough credit for, their fitness.
I totally agree.
You've got to be rock hard fit to do that, Sellers, for four quarters. And Collingwood have proved that. They go from a scrap into efficient ball movement, Collingwood. That's what I love. They can scrap and scrap and scrap, then they just go. It's a terrific quarter. No doubt they would hope they'll 5-3 rather than 3-5 because it felt like they dominated that quarter, the Pies.
They certainly did, and they actually did it. They did it through the two Dacos kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just flying 199 metres, and Dacos they both had 9 each. DeGoey's had 9. All of a sudden, you get down to Noble and Crisp and Pendlebury, and they are just dominating the possessions in this area. There's just incredible inside 50s. They're dominating. They're dominating that as well. But it's about want and will. Their will to want to go and do this, and their will to actually to be accountable, and their standards. The standards that they've kept up amongst along the game as well has been just super. Love what they've done, and they're in good shape, real good shape.
So the Cats have trailed at quarter time in their last 3 now, qualifying finals. 2-5 to Port Adelaide, 4-3 and 1-4 to 2-1. So there'd be a little bit Chris Scott would be nervous about.
Yeah,
extremely.
If Collingwood can hold this pressure, he'd be extremely nervous. Geelong had no free ball in that quarter.
We'll get down to Tim Hodges in just a moment for an update on the health downstairs. Collingwood by 14 points. Stanley went early to start the second term. Cameron grabs it out of the ruck for Collingwood. That's Darcy. Kicks to half forward. McCreary never took possession. Paddles it to Josh Dacos. High half forward. Kicks inside the forward arc for Collingwood. Zach Guthrie leads his man. Takes the intercept mark for Geelong. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Jake Kolodjasny starting this term on the bench. Mark O'Connor is now doing a full warm-up, so I expect it will be only only a matter of minutes before he's in the game. Jordan De Goey remains in the Collingwood rooms. It's an injury to his right side, either his arm or his wrist, I believe.
Thanks, Hodgie. Tim Hodges on the boundaries. Zach Guthrie's kick up to the members' wing. And Isaac Smith has it locked underneath him on the AFL logo. Collingwood by 14 points. Stanley wins down the tap. But it's Adams who's onto it for Collingwood. He's locked up by Cam Guthrie, and the umpire will ball it up just a couple of metres from where it was done previously. Stanley and Darcy Cameron in a tangle. Spills the way of Cam Guthrie. Missed his boot. Trying to get a kick forward, and Adams works it forward to Crisp. Collingwood into attack, kicks for Myercheck. Zach Guthrie in front, held his composure and spoils it out of play. Left forward pocket for the Pies, heading to the punt road end in this second quarter.
Good kick down there. Put it into the forward line, lock it in, have another crack at them, keep putting some pressure on because they're feeling it right now.
Collingwood by 14. Boundary throw-in, swatted down from the back by Stanley. Tapped away by Bledsoe, back into dispute. Great hand pass. Pendlebury away to Ginnivan. There's a late whistle. There's a mark to Johnson. There's a free kick coming back.
Why is that?
Why was that come back?
Pendlebury's going to get the free for the high tackle at half forward for Collingwood.
Yeah, that's wrong. That is totally wrong.
The ball went straight to his teammate.
If advantage was applied, Johnson would have been shooting from 15 out. And Pendlebury, the Collingwood captain, short to Maynard. He looks for home. Kicks a rocket all the way to the behind.
He's got it anyway.
Johnson marks.
Behind.
It's through for a score.
Are they going to have a look? What are they going to do here?
Was that a mark or not?
Well, that's what
the umpire signalled it behind straight away.
Soft calls are behind.
I'm not certain about that.
We're going up to the video review.
That's a mark.
That's not over the line.
Nah.
It's not over.
All the ball needs to be over all the line.
It's not over.
We saw one last night which it seemed certain to be going over, and Isaac Heaney took the mark.
Take.
Yeah, I think that's a mark.
Yep.
So judging by the thoughts of our experts,
that's a mark.
We have struggled as
a
whole industry this weekend in trying to interpret the video review.
Oh, well, but I think they know.
If our experts are right, this will be a shot at goal for Johnson.
It will be.
I love your confidence, Sellers, on interpreting the arc.
Well,
I don't love his confidence in technology.
No, you're dead right there.
Here we go.
Having trouble.
Complete. Judging by the reaction, I think it's over the line.
How? You can see it there. It's not over the line.
The collective sigh from the 60,000 Collingwood fans in the house.
You're kidding.
The official news from the score review, umpire's call, so that was a behind, so they go with the soft signal.
What a pathetic way out that is.
Which they do all the time, except for when there's 2 minutes to go in an elimination final.
I was about to say, Tom Lynch is on the line.
Collingwood by 15 points, 3 minutes into the second term.
Tom Stewart brings the Cats back into play, kicks towards half-back, it bounces in front of Stanley. A chance for the Pies, McCreary tries to slide in, little toe poke from Adams. A lot of players around the footy. Blitzav's over the top, little toe poke into the middle of the ground. Side bottom was waiting for it for Collingwood. Reloads inside 50, bouncing ball. Tough one for Stewart. Elliott knocked it on. Ginnivan gathers, hand pass to Johnson. 40 metres out from goal, turns on the right, it's across the face. And through for a minor score to the left. Collingwood by 16 points. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
This is an interesting one. The doctor is back from the Magpie rooms. He hasn't brought Jordan De Goey back with him, but they haven't told Nathan Kruger to get ready, so I can only presume that Jordan De Goey is on his way back at some point to get back into this game. But, that's a mystery, and still Cole Jasny remains in this game, even though he remains on the Cat bench.
Thanks, Hodgie, as Duncan brings it into Henry, marks at half-back, kicks down the wing, and Quaynor got hands to it. There's a late spoiling effort from Stengel, but the mark will be paid. And Collingwood trap it in their front half. They've been outplaying Geelong. 5 minutes into the second term, Collingwood by 16.
Quaynor's kept Stengel pretty quiet.
3-7 to 1-3. Kick down to half forward. Leaping up goes Stewart. Just punches it back inboard. Buse jams it on the boot. Kick smothered. Fisted away by Lipinski. Back to Buse. The Cats. He's tackled. Runs into Adam. Ball comes out. Hump says play on. Geelong win it again. Holmes tumbles a kick down the wing. Bouncing footy just into centre square. Murphy and Jez Cameron. Heavy collision. Cameron wins the footy. Hand pass to Stengel. Links up with Smith. He kicks to an unguarded goal square. Needs a kind bounce. Won't get it. The ball trickles out in front of Rowan. Rowan keeps it alive. He tries to snap goal and kicks it back into the field of play. Live footy, top of the goal square for the Cats.
Canterbury got the hand pass to Howe. He gets a clearing kick, but it's straight to the boundary. Holmes with the arms outreached. And he was ahead of the game. Insufficient intent to keep it in. Quickly back to the pocket for Hawkins. One-on-one with Howe.
Yeah, he just loves that Clinchy, where he can protect that little bit of space where he knows the ball is going to drop. It's a terrific kick by Holmes. Goes way too strong for Jeremy Howe. Protect the space, take the mark on the chest.
He's only had one handball for the game. He's a monster.
Jeremy Cameron kicked the first goal. Now Tom Hawkins. The Cats getting a few of their stars involved. And the Pies, who got out by 19 points in the first term, all of a sudden it's back to a 10-point ball game with the first goal of the second quarter coming through Tom Hawkins. 6 minutes gone. 2-3-15 the Cats to Collingwood at 3-7-25. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Good timing, Clinchy. Jordan De Goey straight back from the room, straight onto the ground to replace Taylor Adams. You can see that right shoulder. Normally the tattoos are all over it, but it's got strapping, heavy strapping over that right shoulder. So he's straight back from the rooms, back onto the ground, straight back into the middle.
They seem more aggressive, the Cats. Much more aggressive here, and they should have been after their break at quarter time. They were pathetic in the first quarter. Ordinary, I would call it. All of a sudden they start to move the ball, but Tommy Hawkins stands up in front of anyone who wants to stand behind him, holds his space and kicks a goal. Terrific.
First one of the second term. Mark McClure on grandstand AFL as Darcy Cameron first hands on it in the middle. No clean takeaway. Picked up by Selwood. He's tackled by Darcy Cameron. Ball comes out. Crisp can't pick it up. He's too for the Cats. Tackled by Crisp. Ball hits the deck. Says play on. Still a scrap alongside the centre circles. Ginnivan grabs it. They've got him. And a ball up in the middle again. Jake Collar-Jasny out on the ground on Jamie Elliott. The heavy strapping on his knee. De Goey on the ground, heavy strapping on his shoulder. So both teams banged up. Dangerfield through traffic. Got it to Stewart. Hand pass out wide for Holmes. He's up and running southern wing. Kicks down to Stengel. One-on-one with Noble. Slips through to Quaynor. He fumbles. Stengel follows up with a tackle. Says ball up. Between wing and half forward for the Cats. They're kicking to the city end in the second turn.
Ginnivan had a pretty rough trot there in the middle of the ground. Should have been a free kick to him, but they don't pay him.
Blitz outs one down the tap to Stengel. Hand pass to Dangerfield. Kicks to half forward. Hoskin Elliott's able to retreat for Collingwood. Gathers. Kicks up the wing. Mason Cox takes the mark. They're away with speed again. Crisp inside 50. Ginnivan's got forward. He marks racing back to goal, and Mitch Duncan wasn't able to keep up with him. A shot on goal 40 metres out for the long-sleeved black and white number 33.
Good transition by the Pies. Win the ball across half-back and just go. Go as quickly as you can.
36 goals, 18 for a second-year player. Jack Ginnivan. He might be talked about more than any second-year player. He comes in, that's off the outside of the boot. That's not going to score. Out of bounds on the full. The wrong side of the right behind post, and the Cats will take the free kick with Collingwood leading by 10.
He's ordinarily a very good kick for goal. He scores 2 in every 3 that he takes. 36 goals, 18 for the season. 10-point lead for the Pies. A long kick out the half-back for Geelong as Selwood had it, lost it, spills to Hoskin Elliott. Hand pass to De Goey to Nick Dacos. Mowed down by Close. Ball comes out to Stengel. Hand pass to Holmes. Back to Stengel. Half-back for the Cats. Kicks down the wing and in from the side. Darcy Moore takes the intercept mark. Outer edge of the centre square. Collingwood lead the game by 10. They kicked the first 3 goals. Geelong have kicked the last 2. Collingwood going forward. More to Myercheck. Crashes the pack. Can't complete the mark. Centre half forward for the Pies. Pendlebury stands up with it. Cops it up. Hand pass to Smith, who kicks out a defensive 50.
Noble trying to gather it. Jessica Cameron coming the other direction. Noble did well. Got it to Nick Dacos. Then a fumble. Close squeezes in. He's over the footy. Knocks it out to Duncan. It opens up in front of him. Got it to Smith. He goes short to Rowan on the bounce. Clean pickup. Outside of the boot. Holmes on the run. He's got a vacant goalmouth. Howe's trying to get there. Holmes can't take it cleanly. Ducks the head. Hoskin Elliott gets there. The reinforcements arrive. And Collingwood's fans erupt. It's up against the behind line and the moment is lost for Geelong.
You don't tap the ball in front of you in a final. Particularly against Collingwood, their pressure has been enormous. Max Holmes wanted to tap it in front of him, let it bounce back. Not in a final.
There's a few who can tell September horror stories about the bouncing of a footy. Max Holmes joins them. Cox got rid of Hawkins in the ruck battle. Defensive 50 for Collingwood. Spills to Holmes once more. Kicks off the outside of the boot. Into the pocket looking for Jeremy Cameron, but Darcy Moore takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood. Pies by 10.
In his fifth final, Darcy Moore to centre half back for Crisp, and here they go. Collingwood hand pass to Pendlebury.
Super
Kicks
kick.
McGinnivan running back downhill. Hand on it, critical from Duncan. Knocks it to Cam Guthrie. Hand pass to Duncan. Duncan comes out wide to Hughes. Took on side bottom under the pump. Hand pass to Tui. Chips it along the boundary line. Close on the half volley. Closed down by Crisp. Close tackled without it, surely. Crisp knocks it back to Quaynor. Hot footy. Tui tackles him and a ball up just forward of the wing for the Cats. Geelong trail by 10 points, but the Cats have got the last 2 in the game. 11 played in the second term.
Cats with the only goal so far this quarter. The Pies with a couple of behinds. Cox does the roving after competing in the ruck. Hand pass forward to McCreary. He's tackled across the boundary line by Zach Guthrie and a boundary throw-in. Collingwood 3-7-25 to Geelong 2-3-15. 11 minutes gone, second term.
It just feels like Geelong has settled much better into this second quarter.
Toss back in. It clears to the back of the pack where Duncan's waiting. Hand pass to Selwood. A few of the old guard combine, and here's Hawkins on the lead. Marks right on 50 out to the right.
Might be out of range.
Yeah, metre or two out of range, I think, Sellers.
Darcy Moore might have picked up a stride or two. He's just a couple of steps outside 50.
I wouldn't discount him.
Hawkins looks for the pocket. Cameron out on the lead. He marks in front. And it's a tough one for Jeremy Howe, who is seeing the challenges of guarding not only Tom Hawkins but Jeremy Cameron.
Yeah, but it's not Jeremy Howe the way he defends. He's not going to be able to stay with Cameron on a lead like that.
Kick the Cats' first goal of the qualifying final. Jezza Cameron out to the right. He'll step out, snap on the left, curl it beautifully. Has he got the goal line? No. Cox is there with Quaynor, and they spoil it through for a minor score.
It's just too far out to kick that kick.
Yep, Collingwood by 9.
Nick Dacos on the kick-out duties. What a debut season he's had. In his first final as he goes on a run, heads out wide to Johnson, but DeConing drops in front to take the intercept mark. Geelong keep it in their front half. He's told to go now, DeConing. Has to kick hurriedly. A high bomb to centre half forward. Dangerfield underneath it. Howe spoils into the lap of Atkins. Tackled by McCreary. Breaks the tackle. Taken to ground. Says I'll have it. Got a bit of support trying to wrestle free from McCreary, and Howe drags him down. Right on the digits of the 50. The half forward for Geelong. Up it goes. Cox palms it down, but into the path of Selwood. Breaks tackle. 2 tackles. Caught by Adams.
Super tackle.
Taylor Adams with the chase down tackle. Superb. Wins the footy back for Collingwood at centre half back. The Pies by 9. 13 played in the second.
I think he's right to play it, Taylor.
He joined us in the pre-match, said he knew by late last week that he was right to go. Gave a perfect answer to what Collingwood can bring against the best side of the home and away season. They've got confidence and belief, and they win moments. Short to Noble, who works it up to De Goey, back on the ground, around the wing. Cameron, that's Darcy Cameron, can't take the mark. Zach Guthrie onto it, Mason Cox got him. Didn't get a hand pass away, dropped the footy as Cox had his other hand. It spills to Maynard. His kick is intercepted as Mitch Duncan was waiting for it. He marks it right half back for the Cats. Collingwood by 9.
Duncan goes corridor, kicks in their Rowan direction, edged underneath it by Quaynor. Takes the intercept mark for Collingwood. Swings his kick out wide for Lipinski. No mark, forced to spoil. Hoskin Elliott fumbles. Cats get some numbers there. Cam Guthrie sockets it away to Quaynor. Guthrie follows up with a tackle. Gee, this is September footy at its best. And we'll have another ball up out on the southern wing. Collingwood by 9 points. 15 played in the second term. Geelong with the last 2 goals. Collingwood kicked the first 3, led by as many as 19 points in the opening quarter.
Cox wins down the tap, really uncontested in the end. It spills to Nick Dacos. Cannoning into him is Paddy Dangerfield, and the umpire will throw it up. Left half forward for the Cats. Shane Warne stands side of a packed MCG. Over 90,000 in attendance. Stanley wins down the tap for Geelong, then tries to follow up. He's over the footy. Josh Dacos over the top of him. He's going to be pinged. Holding the footy. Collingwood free kick. Stanley just not doing enough in the eyes of the umpire to try and knock it out.
This quarter's turned around the statistics. Geelong are so far in front with the disposals, and you can see it in the game. They're attacking.
Possession number 11 coming up for Josh Dacos. Goes short to Jordan De Goey. Pendlebury with 12. Dangerfield with 9 leading the way for the Cats. Out wide to Nick Dacos. Centre of the Shane Warne stand wing. Inboard to De Goey. He was stationary, had it spilled away from him. Dangers onto it. He sends it long towards Jezza Cameron. More in front. Cameron flies, can't take the mark. Rowan with pace. Volleys it towards the goal mouth. It misses. And rolls end over end out of play for a throw-in. Collingwood fans have got long memories. They thought it was insufficient intent.
Come on.
In forward 50, that tends to go out the window.
So a boundary throw in, forward pocket for the Cats. Collingwood the first 3 goals, Geelong the last 2. Hawkins wrestling with Cox. Cox wins it down. Hawkins a second tap to Selwood. Shrugs one tackle. Hands it to Jeremy Cameron. Kicks for Rowan.
Jeez, that was so good by Jeremy Cameron. Firstly, so good by Joel Selwood. He worked in that stoppage to get it clear, get a little handball. Then Cameron just pulled that kick to the top of the square to Gary Rowan, who Quaynor was just metres off him. Metres off him. Should finish here, Gary Rowan. 13 metres out, directly in front.
So Gary Rowan skips in, dead in front, dead straight. Cats with the last 3, Collingwood with the first 3, and it's a 1-score game. Pies lead it by 3 points. 17 travelled in the second term. It's Collingwood 3-7, Geelong 3-4 on Grandstand AFL. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure.
So inside 50s are still even this quarter, 6 apiece. But Geelong now, it's 2 goals, 1 to 2 behinds in this quarter. So Geelong are quite efficient. It feels like they're just starting to get a little bit more free ball around the contest. The Cats, Joel Selwood's been enormous. Just his work rate in these contests. Had 3 possessions this quarter, but it's the grunt work. It's forcing the ball forward, forcing the ball clear, just to give his teammate some sort of chance. On that occasion, it was out to Jeremy Cameron, who's been really dangerous in this game so far.
10th goal of the season for Gary Rowan. Hasn't featured all that much in the first half of the season. Dangerfield gets the clearance, sockers it off the deck to half forward. Noble sockers it, just missed the umpire. It spills out to Josh Dacos. It'll work for Collingwood. He takes a bounce and a second slips over. Holmes applied the pressure and he's pinned holding the footy.
You need to wear long stops, Josh.
Oh, that's a 50-metre penalty.
And then a shove on Holmes.
You can't
and
show
it's going to be a 50-metre penalty.
Show of dissent there was terrible. He got beaten. Bad luck.
No one's on the mark, so Holmes can keep going. Can he get within striking distance from 60?
Tui.
Kicks for Tui. Can't take the mark. Front and centre. Darcy Moore with a hand pass to Maynard. The side bottom out of defence. Kicks to Ginnivan, who marks it left half back for the Pies.
Momentum with Geelong as Ginnivan goes short to Maynard. Maynard looks back into the corridor. Dangerous kick, turns it over. Atkins on the half volley to Jez Cameron. Hand pass away to Stewart. Loads up, kicks all the way to the goal mouth. It's offline. It's a good kick. Travelled 60 metres but threw from behind. Collingwood now by just 2. They led it by as many as 19 in the opening term. We're approaching time on in the second.
Darcy Moore wants to go long. Johnson's the target. It won't get to him. And Zach Guthrie takes the intercepting mark. Turns and attacks. Inside 50. Jezza Cameron. Hawkins is there. Clears both of them. At the back side. Bottoms onto it for Collingwood. Hand pass out to the right back pocket. Noble has it. Short to Josh Dacos. He marks on the defensive 50. Hawkins prevented him playing on. Collingwood fans thought he didn't stand. They've got in front of the mark. No 50. As he goes short to John Noble, who has it at right half back. Very short around the boundary line. Over the top to Nick Dacos. Collingwood by 2 points, but they haven't kicked a goal since the 25-minute mark of the opening term. Nick Dacos inboard with his kick, looking for Taylor Adams. It was risky. Dangerfield spoiled it down. Pendlebury squeezed the kick forward over the head of Cox. Stanley gathers. Hand pass for the Cats to Myers. Works it out to Atkins on the wing.
Atkins can put Geelong down to half forward, close to the target. Collingwood with 2 up, swatted away by Howe. At the drop is Pendlebury. Hand pass to Nick Dacos, over his head to Howe. Hand pass down the line to Josh Dacos. Collingwood by hand to Hoskin Elliott. Kicks on the bounce to Johnson. Collects 70 out, looks for Myercheck, who marks at centre half forward. He plays on Brody. He snaps goal and it's spoiled by Henry. Still alive and it goes back to Kolodjasny. He didn't rush it through. Kolodjasny was caught in a tackle by Lipinski. The ball spills over the behind line and the umpire says he rushed it through. Gee, that was a calamity.
Jesus.
For Geelong.
Has Kolodjasny got a bad knee or concussion? What was he thinking?
I don't know why he tried to keep that alive, and somehow they got it through for a rush behind in the end. Collingwood by 3, time on in the second.
Tui quickly back into play for the Cats. Kicks for Blitzapps. He marks it left half back. Quickly around the southern wing, up towards Dangerfield. Mason Cox in from the side. Too big and too tall. Takes the mark in front of Patrick Dangerfield. Noble whips around the back, receives the hand pass, short to Pendlebury, Stanley in from the side, to Goey's over the footy, hand pass to Taylor Adams, looks into the middle of the MCG, hand pass to Pendlebury, Stengel got him, drops it to his boot, turns it over though, Myers for Geelong, hand pass to Hughes, the wave through the middle of the MCG, to close, vacant goalmouth, ignores Jessica Cameron, goes for goal, and bounces it through. The turnover in the middle of the ground for Collingwood. And Brad Close made them pay the full toll. Geelong in front by 3 points. They led with the opening behind of the match, but the Cats back in front. 4-5-29 to Collingwood 3-8-26. The Cats with the last 4 goals of the match. 22 minutes gone, second term.
Helter-skelter footy, that you'd call that. Just at reckless abandon, just get the ball forward, push it as hard as you can, and it all comes from the pressure through the middle. Through the middle is unbelievable stuff.
Like Pendlebury gets that handball cells, it's a little bit loopy, but Geelong just whacked straight onto him. Pendlebury's so good at evading those tackles. But then the handball chain, little handball chain through the middle of the ground by the Cats. Brad Close gets forward and is able to finish a goal.
You compare that with Myercheck at the other end in 2 minds.
Yeah, correct. Sliding doors.
Pies kicked the first 3 goals. The next 4 now for Geelong. Back in the middle, Darcy Cameron wins the head out, but Geelong away. Atkins on the end of it. Hand pass to Myers. He's mowed down. Adams the chase down tackle. Spills to Cam Guthrie. Gives it to Selwood. Kicks inside 50. Straight to Murphy though. Hurried kick up to the wing. Duncan clever. Spoils for the Cats into the part. The Blitzarps looks for Jez Cameron. It's over his head. And out of bounds, 30 metres out from the Geelong goal. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Jake Kolodjasny is out of this game. He's been subbed out with the right knee injury, and so coming in is Mark O'Connor. So he's got through to the 23-minute mark of the second quarter, probably about 35 minutes longer than we thought. And he'll be a watch over the next few weeks with that knee injury, how bad it is.
Hawkins wins down the tap beautifully to Cam Guthrie outside of the boot, can't finish. Running at full pelt. Misses to the left-hand side.
Yeah, this game's really changed. Geelong are dominating this quarter now.
Cats by 4 points.
Geelong, they've closed down Collingwood's free ball. The Magpies were trying to dominate that first quarter through mark a lot, but now it's been scrappy, and Geelong are winning these little scrimmages now.
All the playing surface in the shadows. The floodlights starting to take over. Still blue skies above. And the lights on. A twilight game at the G and 90,000 plus in to see it. Couple of lead changes. Geelong by 4 and Collingwood hemmed into the defensive 50. Side bottom. Long left-footed drop punt. Gee, big fly there from Johnson. Can't mark. Spills down to Pendlebury. Knocks it inside to DeGoey. DeGoey kicks down the wing. Gee, there's a few out going downhill. One of them, Darcy Cameron. Can he run onto it? He does. Sweeping hand pass to Myercheck. Spins, kicks inside 50. Bouncing footy favours Blitzarps. He knocks it away to Dangerfield, who links up with Zach Guthrie. And the kick out of defence up to the wing.
Side bottom had to gather the bouncing footy. Sum up his options. Decides to drive it inside 50. In from the side, Myercheck and Johnson. Stanley retreats back by hand. Abuse to Blitzavs. Over the top to Cam Guthrie. 20 metres out from his defensive goal. Cool, calm and composed. And he finds Tom Stewart in the right back pocket. Returns it back to Cam Guthrie. The workhorse up to Stengel, who takes the mark at right half back in front of the Geelong bench. 25 minutes gone, second term. Kicks towards close. It doesn't get to him. And Darcy Cameron takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood. The Cats with the last 4 goals of the match. They took a little while to get going in this qualifying final, but they found their straps now. Darcy Cameron, who to? Over McCreary, there was no marking target. And Tom Stewart takes the intercepting mark for the Cats.
That's Collingwood's fault to not have the tools there at that area. They knows where he's going to go, and they need tools there, and they just couldn't get him there.
Well, Stewart kicks a helicopter. Good one for Cam Guthrie to mark. There's a finger breaker on the way in. He blocks it on the wing. Looks laterally to Sam De Koning, who takes the mark outer edge of the centre square. Cats by 4 as we tick towards half-time. Short kick to Zach Guthrie. And he can chip it to the sub in Mark O'Connor. And a mainstay in this Geelong team, dropped on Thursday night, comes in here for Kolodjasny. Between wing and half forward, kicks for Cameron. Blitz arms in from the side, hand on it. Spills down to Noble, a few fumbles. So Stengel grabs it clean, then hooks a kick straight out on the full. Collingwood ball, back pocket. 26 minutes travelled, second term. The first qualifying final for a home prelim. Geelong lead it by 4.
Jeremy Howe with the footy for Collingwood. Kicks up towards Darcy Cameron. He's in a tangle with Stanley. Comes down to the front. Cameron had it knocked away by Stanley. To Mark O'Connor, the sub into the action for Kolodjasny. Side bottom. Squeeze the kick up the members wing. Elliott can't quite gather. It spills to Mitch Duncan. Hand pass to De Koning. He tries to go short to Tui on the bounce. He's worked off it. McCreary couldn't ride the bump of Zach Guthrie. He gathers. Sends Geelong inside 50. Good work. Getting in front. Darcy Moore takes the mark in front of Hawkins. Played on. Hand pass wasn't clean. Got it to Chris. To Noble, who's dragged down. No free kick. Isaac Smith picks it up for the Cats. Takes the bounce in the middle of the MCG. High ball inside 50. Murphy underneath. Flies against Howe. Hawkins stayed down. Hand pass to Cameron. Nick Dacos gets back there. And he and Sidebottom rush it through for a minor score. It was tense moments for the Collingwood defenders, but they stood up. And the Cats lead by 5 points.
It's a goal-saving pick from Nick Dacos.
They just need to get to half-time, the Pies.
And he goes straight down the pipe here to Moore at centre-half back.
Geelong have really dominated this second quarter.
Moore comes out wide to Sidebottom, who marks. Gee, took a step off the mark. Says play on. Hand pass away to Noble. Short down the boundary line to McCreary. Touched on the way through. Still got the Magpies forward. Hand pass to Adams. To Darcy Cameron. Back to McCreary. 70 out. Kicks inside 50. Hoskin Elliott on the line. Can't complete it in the air. Did he get tunnelled? No free kick.
No way.
Spills down and he's tackled. And a ball up. 35 out from the Collingwood goal at centre half forward.
He just dropped the soda.
That was an easy mark.
Yep.
Collingwood haven't kicked a goal in this second quarter. Cameron tries to knock it down. That's Darcy to Jordan Agoe. He's tightly held. Patrick Dangerfield lays the tackle. And a ball up 40 metres out from the Magpies' goal.
It's always interesting how teams absorb pressure.
Stanley tries to take it out of the right. Dangerfield got a boot onto it. Managed to get it out to Duncan in the back pocket. His kick is intercepted. Sidebottom could have taken the mark. He spoiled it out of play. And a boundary throw in under the Olympic stand. Collingwood at left half forward, but it's the Cats who lead by 5 points.
Explain that, Rama.
Well, Geelong weren't absorbing the pressure in that first quarter well. Collingwood were winning that ball. Now they've absorbed, I think, Collingwood's best, and they're starting to get out of the contest now.
It's the boundary throw in, Sidebottom to the Pies. Hand pass to Quaynor. Excellent kick. And Hoskin Elliott says, give me that, as he reels it in. Spilling one moments ago, he marks 40 out right half forward.
And do they need this? They haven't scored for the quarter. Not one goal.
Their last 4 scores, all behinds. And Craig McRae, the heavy down jacket on the Collingwood bench, just very calmly chatting to his charges. Hoskin Elliott for their only goal of the quarter gives them a half-time lead. Pies by 1. A quarter dominated by the minor premiers. They'd kicked the last 4 goals of the game, but Hoskin Elliott, after the horn at half-time, puts the Pies back up by a point. 4-8 to 4-7 in an absolute September tussle between 2 of the competition's heavyweights. It's Collingwood 32, Geelong 31. on Grandstand AFL. The goal kickers for Collingwood: Singles to Lipinski, Josh Dacos, Hoskin Elliott and Myercheck. While for Geelong, 1 each for Jeremy Cameron, Rowan, Hawkins and Brad Close. It's half-time at the MCG with over 90,000 in this Coliseum to see it. Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas.
There's hardly a seat that's empty as well in this stand and this dome, or whatever you want to call it, or auditorium, or whatever it is. That was a really good quarter. I thought that it was well won by Geelong. They just actually pushed themselves. They changed their gears a little bit. They were more aggressive. Their approach was changed. They were attacking. They started to make the ball go forward. You can't beat the Pies with skill only on your own, just chipping it around. You've got to attack them. You've got to push them. You've got to shove them. 3-1 for the quarter. It was a pretty good score. Actually, it's a pretty small scoring game. 4-7 to 4-8 at half time. This is not the usual game you would want to see with a blowout. This is a really dour and hard tussle. And that quarter was really dominated very much by Dangerfield, who had 12. He's up there. Guthrie's there. Duncan. All the big boys are back on track. Sherwood's up there as well in that area. Zach Guthrie. Cameron's had 9 possessions, kicked a couple of goals. It's been fantastic. I love what he does, Jeremy Cameron, all that sort of stuff. And that's why they win. They've set up better behind the ball. They had more numbers when they in their defensive area, and we saw it in that quarter where there was 4 or 5 or 6 more than what the Collingwood players had in that area. That's what happened. It changed, and they changed the way they played. And guess what? They got the result they needed.
So Geelong comfortably had the better of that quarter, and that was evident through. If you compare first quarter to second quarter, first quarter Collingwood's pressure was in the face. The ball was staying in the contest. Second quarter, Collingwood was still in Geelong's face, but the ball was coming out, and Geelong were able to exit that contest through handball, and that then allowed them to take the ball forward. So you look when the ball was going in their forward 50, all that's stopping Geelong right now from having probably a good lead in this at half time is their kicking efficiency. It's only been at 56% for the half. So that's very low. But if you look at that second quarter alone, there was a number of opportunities that Geelong missed going inside forward 50. So I think
Collingwood claim they missed a few as well, though, with Myercheck and
they took the marks. That was just mistakes.
Yeah.
They were mistakes. I'm talking about, they just couldn't hit the target, Geelong, going inside their forward 50. So what Collingwood are trying to do here a little bit is frustrate Geelong through marks. So they've had 55 for the half. That's a good number. That's 110 if you look towards the end of the game, how many they could have. So I think when they feel like Geelong's got some sort of ascendancy in the quarter or at the moment, they slow the game down quickly. And they'll just get the ball wide, take it along the boundary, chip, 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 and then off they go. So fascinating game. Well, we can't ask for it to be any closer at the moment as it is. Cats, can they continue to flex that muscle? I thought there was a bit of a flex in that second quarter. Hey, Collingwood, okay, yep, you got the better of us in that first quarter, but
they defended better.
Yeah.
They defended much better.
Yeah.
That's what slowed them down.
And they capitalised on some Collingwood skill errors in the middle of the ground.
Absolutely. So that's the thoughts of our analysts at halftime. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure. 3 lead changes, the last of them after the halftime siren. So at the long break, it's Collingwood who lead it by a single point over the Cats. A little earlier, news coming through, a bit of the postscript from last night's qualifying final here at the G, is that the incident with Jake Lloyd and James Harms was assessed. James Harms was charged by the match review officer. It came back as careless contact, medium impact, and the contact was to the body. So as a result, he's been fined $3,000 and will be available to play in the semi-final. So James Harms will be there against the Lions.
So the contact was always going to be the important part, whether it was seen as careless, low, medium, high. In the end, it's been deemed careless, which is a fine. If it had been sort of medium, that might have been a week.
So he's free to play, James Harms, next Friday. First of 2 finals today, of course, still to come. The first elimination final between Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs. We'll bring you all of that. 6 superb quarters of September footy still to come on this Saturday. This is ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Sport Digital. It's halftime of the qualifying final, the third term moments away. It's the Pies who lead it by 1 point. But first, the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. An organisation committed to achieving gender equality in Australian workplaces says childcare subsidies will help boost women's participation. The federal government's come away from the Jobs and Skills Summit in Canberra this week with 36 workplace engagement initiatives, including pay and participation for women. There have also been proposed reforms to give some families a 90% childcare subsidy for their first child. Deputy Managing Director of Future Women, Jamila Rizzi, says this is critical to help get women into the workplace.
If we closed the gender participation gap, if we had as many women participating in work as men, we would add almost an extra 1 million skilled employees to the economy.
Communities along parts of the New South Wales coast are on alert for heavy rain and possible flooding. Cecilia Connell has the details.
More than 100 millimetres of rain could fall in the Hunter to mid-north coast regions as a low-pressure system moving from southern Queensland deepens. Jason Sims from the SES says residents should monitor the situation closely.
That will probably have some effect locally on some areas with regards to flash flooding.
Forecaster G1 Park says rain levels will peak this afternoon.
This event will be transitioning from rain event today into wind event tomorrow.
Several minor to moderate flood watch alerts have been issued.
The White House says its efforts to impose a global price cap on Russian oil are succeeding as it looks to reduce the Kremlin's war chest for its invasion of Ukraine. Moscow is warning that Russia will not sell any oil to countries that impose a price cap, but G7 countries have agreed to set a cap, and White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre claims Russia's already working to sell its oil at reduced prices.
Reports show that Russia is already offering steep discounts, as much as 30%, and long-term contracts to some countries. This also demonstrates that Russia is planning to continue supplying its oil and willing to swallow bigger discounts.
Thousands of supporters of Argentina's Vice President Cristina Fernandez Kirchner have rallied in the streets of Buenos Aires to denounce political violence a day after she survived a botched attempt on her life. Here's the BBC's Katie Watson.
Local television footage showed the moment the gunman pointed his weapon at the vice president's head. You can hear the trigger being pulled, but none of the 5 bullets inside the gun were fired, for reasons that aren't yet clear. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner currently faces a corruption trial after being accused of defrauding the state when she was Argentina's president between 2007 and 2015. She denies the allegations and had been greeting supporters outside her house when the gun attack took place. Police have named the suspected gunman as 35-year-old Buenos Aires resident Fernando Andrés Sabag Montiel.
A team of European scientists is suggesting that conditions on some planets could allow rivers of diamonds to form deep below their crust. The study theorizes that hot, dense flows of hydrogen, carbon and oxygen thousands of kilometers below the surface of icy giants like Uranus and Neptune could crystallize as diamonds in the planet's rocky core. The scientists attempted to recreate the conditions by exposing cheap plastic to brief intense X-ray flashes, which resulted in the creation of microscopic nanodiamonds. Australia's Ayla Tomljanovic has apologised to fans after knocking Serena Williams out of the US Open. Tomljanovic defeated Williams in 3 sets, 7-5, 6-7, 6-1, to progress past the third round of the tournament for the first time. The loss is likely to be the last match of Williams' glittering career, which includes 23 Grand Slam titles. Tomljanovic has described her win as surreal.
I'm feeling really sorry just because I love Serena just as much as you guys do, and what she's done for me, for the sport of tennis, is incredible, and I never thought that I'd have a chance to play her in her last match when I remember watching her as a kid in all those finals, so this is a surreal moment for me.
Australia's lost the third and final match of the one-day international series in Townsville, bowled out for their lowest ever total against Zimbabwe and delivering the visitors their first ever win over Australia in Australia. Sent in by the visitors, David Warner was the lone hand for the Australian innings before holing out for 94. Leg spinner Ryan Burrell took 5 for 10 as the visitors bowled Australia out for 141. Australia moves into a 3-day, 1-game series against New Zealand in Cairns on Tuesday. ABC News.
Did you know that ABC Listen has a little sibling?
Hi.
The ABC Kids Listen app with music to move and podcasts to play. ABC Kids Listen stimulates curiosity, fires imaginations, and fosters good listening skills.
Wow! That's a funny noise.
Discover a world of entertainment that will spark creativity in the minds of your little ones and get them up and moving. Download ABC Kids Listen today, free from your app store.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stack, and if you like great stories and you enjoy sport, then I reckon you need ABC Sport Daily in your life.
You know, when he first got into the UFC, he was a real wild sort of fighter. In Western Sydney terms, he was great at going in there and feeding them.
But this time, against Canada, he has pretty much the full suite.
There was always going to be some that didn't go because 12 into 8 doesn't fit.
It's complex, in a word.
It's a daily sports conversation, and it's called ABC Sport Daily. Find us on the ABC Listen app.
The 2022 AFL Finals.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Canterbury got the half pass to Howe. He gets a clearing, keeping it straight to the boundary. Holmes with the arms outreached. But he was ahead of the game. Insufficient intent to keep it in. Quickly back to the pocket for Hawkins. Jeremy Cameron kicked the first goal. Now Tom Hawkins. The Cats getting a few of their stars involved.
Hawkins wrestling with Cox. Cox wins it down. Hawkins a second tap to Selwood. Shrugs one tackle. Hands it to Jeremy Cameron. Kicks for Rowland. So Gary Rowland skips in. Dead in front. Dead straight.
Pendlebury, Stengel got him, drops it to his boot, turns it over though. Myers for Geelong, hand pass abused, the wave through the middle of the MCG to close, vacant goal mouth, ignores Jessica Cameron, goes for goal, out bounces it through.
About to throw inside, bottom to the Pies, hand pass to Quaynor, excellent kick, and Hoskin Elliott says, give me that, as he reels it in. Hoskin Elliott, for their only goal of the quarter, gives them a half-time lead.
The 2022 AFL Finals.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Collingwood with the first 3 goals of the game. Geelong the next 4 either side of quarter time. And then Hoskin Elliott on the bell to put the Pies up by a single point. 4-8 to 4-7. Half time of the first qualifying final. Of course, the winner gets a home prelim. For the loser, they find themselves on the same side of the draw as Sydney. So not only do they not get a home prelim, if they make it that far, they'll find themselves in the Harbour City as a route to try and make it back here on Grand Final Day. On ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Sport Digital, this is Grandstand AFL. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clench, Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas. Tonight in Perth, Fremantle up against the Western Bulldogs. The Dockers, the favourites at home, but it's the first time they played finals since 2015. The late news out of the West is that the rain has cleared. So Freo will like that, given the fact their wet weather form's been a little patchy this year, and of course the Dogs going in without Tom Liberatore. What do you think tonight, Sellers?
I think Fremantle will win that. We saw a game not so long ago at Etihad Stadium where we sat there and watched Rory Lobb and Taverner just tear them apart, and their ball movement through the middle of the ground. I think they're really quick. They're clever. I don't think that the Dogs can defend at the moment. They're struggling in that area. So then they fell into the 8. So to me, do they deserve to win?
Who do you like, Ram?
I think Justin Longmuir has built this team and the style they play for finals. So this is the real first test.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of young players in this team. We understand that. But we marvelled at when Justin Longmuir took over this team, how difficult they were to play against. And that's what finals football is about, making it really difficult for your opposition. So, at the flip side of that, and I said this on the lead at lunchtime today, there's always been a lot of mouths to feed in the Bulldogs midfield. And having Libba out might not be the worst thing. Now, I'm not saying Libba's a bad player, but he's a star. But it's just one less mouth to feed. So it may make him a little bit more efficient in the way they use the ball.
Yeah, but he's their best ball clearance player.
I'm not talking about Libba as a bad player.
No, but he gives it to the blokes on the outside, and he's the one who does it, they're in trouble.
You remember the game we did at Dockland Sellers?
I do well.
The Dockers walked through the middle of the ground with absolutely no pressure. Rory Lobb looked like a superstar forward in that game. So that will be still fresh in the Bulldogs' minds. I have no doubt about that. the only reason I like the Dockers is simply because of that Perth Stadium. I think that's where the advantage lies in this game.
What narrative will Bevo go with to try and motivate? He has become a master of getting the best out of the teams that don't feature in the top four.
It's the us against them attitude. We're coming over here. Nobody wants us to win. Nobody likes us. You know, the whole of WA, or half of WA, is going to be with Fremantle. The other half hate them because they break from West Coast. But, it's just that us against them mentality.
And most people think that they shouldn't be there. So that's the point, isn't it? That's what he comes up with and tries to wind them up. But can he?
The AFLW today, round 2 action. It took Adelaide's very best. They had to come from behind at three-quarter time to beat Richmond. So the Crows prevailing there. The reigning premiers 5-6 over Richmond 4-3. The Tigers scoreless in the final term. In Alberton, Port Adelaide played their first home fixture. They lost. The Western Bulldogs 310-28 over Port Adelaide 139. That was our game on that Grandstand AFL this afternoon. A 19-point win for the Bulldogs. And how about this scoreline in Perth? The Dockers, it took them until the final quarter to register a score. They were 0-1, Geelong 3-9. Along with the Tigers, the Cats tipped to be one of the big improvers this year. So Geelong 27-1. They beat the Dockers by 26 points, and that's a very different Fremantle team than we're used to in the AFLW, who have been one of the contenders throughout the previous 6 seasons.
They had a similar scenario last week against the Tigers. They only had 2 behinds to half-time. Geelong managed to keep the last 2 goals of the match and win the game.
Yeah, that was a slow start to that game.
Sellers' alarms just went off just to remind us the second half is starting.
Somewhere to be.
No, we're supposed to be on at 6 o'clock in the morning, but it's 6 o'clock at night. Seriously. I got it wrong by 12 hours, that's all.
Geelong, the first team out on the ground, and the Pies trailed them out there. So some injury concerns. Jake Kolajasny subbed out of the game midway through that second quarter with a knee complaint. So into the match is Mark O'Connor. Meanwhile, for Collingwood, Jordan De Goey has his shoulder heavily strapped. That's his right shoulder. He is out there, though, doing the warm-up before the start of the second half. So take us inside both camps at halftime. If you're Craig McRae, Rama, what are you telling Collingwood?
Lift the pressure again. I think that's the most important part. We all noticed it in that, coming into that second quarter, particularly the latter stages. Geelong was starting to win that contest quite comfortably. If you look at contested possession, 76-60, so plus 16 in Geelong's favour. The only thing that was keeping really Collingwood in that quarter was when they did move the ball, they moved it pretty efficiently still, and we spoke about that. So that's then the flip side to Chris Scott. You don't want your defenders too high up the ground. You need a wicket keeper. It's usually Tom Stewart, the way he sets himself up, that kick and a half behind the ball. So that's going to be important in this second half.
What are you looking for, Sellers?
Oh, and I think we're looking for Collingwood to give us a bit of bite, because they were flogged in the second quarter. Absolutely not annihilated, but just didn't have any action. There was no impact. There was no push and shove. There was no, hang on, we want this. And they need to do it this quarter. They need to stand up, and they need to be accountable for what they do. And seriously, a couple of little things that were lazy in there. Mychek's kick around the corner for goal, which should have been a goal. Easy kick from 25 metres out instead of trying to ping it over the top. All the little things like that mean a hell of a lot. The moment's business that they work in and they talk about and they do that, they should do it tonight. That's what they should be doing. And that wasn't a couple of those things weren't part of it. But Geelong looked pretty slick. They looked fantastic in the second quarter. They were powerful. They changed their style. They looked really good. I love the way they moved the ball, and they got some weapons up forward, and we all know that, and they're hard to beat.
We had those wicked swings of momentum in round 3 where Collingwood dominated the third quarter.
Yep.
They were able to kick 9 goals to 3, and then Geelong kicked 7 goals to 1 behind in the last quarter. It was sort of a little bit similar in that the Pies in the first quarter had 15 inside 50s to 11. They managed to score 3 goals to 1. In that second quarter, Geelong had 15 inside 50s to 11. They managed to score 3 goals to 1.
That's it. So if you're Geelong, you're feeling pretty good about yourself at the moment. They are sitting there going, well, we're going to roll over these blokes. Well, guess what? They need to put up a little bit of a fight, the Pies.
Tim Hodges is on the boundary for us. What can you see down there, Hodgie?
Just interesting for the Cats after the controversy that you guys called it, or Rama called it, Patrick Dangerfield and Joel Selwood again starting the second half as they did the first half on the bench. And I just love watching Craig McRae. He came up early, so didn't speak to the Pies before they ran out on the ground, and he's been sitting on the bench probably for the last 2.5-3 minutes just on his own, just taking it all in. Let's hope he can get his pies over the line again.
Third term underway. You're with Matt Clinch on Grandstand AFL.
Where a quick clearance for De Goey to half forward. And Ginnivan was there, but he was dispossessed. And Cam Guthrie gathers for Geelong. Short to Blitzhouse, who has it at the back edge of the centre square. Looks through the middle of the MCG, spots Stanley, kicks wide of him and Darcy Cameron. Cameron's ported down. Side bottom front and centre. Hand pass to De Goey. Jamie Elliott all on his own. He takes the mark in the left forward pocket. He somehow lost views. He's thinking about squaring it up. Scott Pendlebury pushed forward. He was directly in front, and now Jamie Elliott's thinking better of that. He'll go back and have the shot himself.
Well, Hughes didn't lose Elliott. Hughes was going to the one in the corridor. And it was just a great decision by De Goey to hit Elliott. So this is the thing. I just think Geelong's defenders are far too high up the ground at the moment.
It took till the half-time siren for Collingwood to kick their first goal the second quarter. Here's Jamie Elliott. Starts it out to the left, and it's not coming back enough. Just passing the first minute of the third quarter.
Just lazy kick. That was a lazy kick. He didn't hit through it.
Collingwood by 2 points.
He just poked his leg at it and didn't give it the full number.
Neither of these teams big third quarter sides. Geelong, their worst performing term of this season out of any of the four, and Collingwood have won as many as they've lost, 11 and 11 in third quarters this year.
This is lower scoring game as I've seen for a long, long time.
Stewart short to Smith, back to Stewart, and Marks in the back pocket for Geelong. Collingwood by a couple, 2 minutes into the third term. Long kick up to the southern wing. Blitzhouse knocks it down to Tui. Hurried kick out wide to Stengel. He's off and running. Downhill with Noble chasing him. Kicks inside 50. Hawkins and Murphy more lend support. And Darcy Moore coming across to fist it out of play, and a boundary throw in forward pocket for Geelong.
That's terrific by Darcy Moore.
Super.
Hawkins has thought, I've got rid of Murphy. Here's an easy mark. And there comes Darcy Moore flying through the air. He'll do the ruck work here, the tomahawk, got rid of Darcy Cameron, can't get a hand pass away. First attempt, now he does, back to the top of the 50. Nick Dacos knocks it boundary side. Tui gathers, hand pass back to Nick Dacos. But he was over the boundary line to throw in. He's just so dominant in those one-on-one contests. Tom Hawkins, the league average is 26%. He's somewhere at around 46% one-on-one in marking contests. There's some great articles on the ABC website that focus on that each week with Cody and Sean. Cam Guthrie with a hand pass to the top of the 50. Chance for Collingwood through Scott Pendlebury. He's tackled. The umpire lets it go for a moment as Atkins laid the tackle. Duncan's hand pass to Cam Guthrie in the right forward pocket. Corralled by Josh Dacos. It spills to Crisp. Hand pass to Nick Dacos in 2 minds. Tackle by Atkins, gets it to close, centering kick, side bottom took out his own teammate in Maynard, rolling to the back, great tackle McCreary, wins a free kick for holding the ball just as the Cats are about to pounce.
It's got to be first give, just first give Gary Rowan.
McCreary long kick to Johnson, who's up to meet it and takes the mark on the wing. Still in the back half for Collingwood, they lead it by a couple of points. 3.5 minutes into the third. Told to go.
That's play on. That's not 10 metres.
That's 10 metres.
Very short kick to Noble.
Oh, jeez.
John Noble, 58th consecutive game. Picked up in the mid-season draft a couple of years back. Holding it down for Collingwood now in his 5th final. Kicks down the wing. Johnson in the pack again. Can't mark. Spills through to Henry. Hand pass into the corridor for the Cats. Duncan's on the end of it. Through the fingertips of Jez Cameron. Lipinski wins it. Hand pass out to Josh Dacos. The 1-2 with Pendlebury. Dacos tucks it under his arm. Kicks for the pocket. Myercheck flies. No mark. Elliott close to the boundary line. It's out of play. And a throw in 20 metres out from the Magpies goal at the City end in the third term. Collingwood by 2.
Floodlights on at the MCG. Crowd of over 90,000. Collingwood leading by 2 points. 4 minutes gone, third term. Pies deep in attack at the City end. Darcy Cameron in front of Stanley. It clears the 2. Atkins onto it. Hand pass to Tui. Squeezes the kick through the middle. Stengel almost juggled the mark. Maynard for Collingwood gathers. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. Back inside 50. It's too wide for Johnson. And goes out of play in the right forward pocket for Collingwood. A boundary throw in 25 metres around from their goal.
The ground looks an absolute picture. The sun setting in Melbourne, floodlights taking over. 90,000 plus in at the G for a qualifying final for the boundary throw-in. Stanley swats it down, but straight to Ginnivan. Short kick out wide, wanted Lipinski. Hughes did well. Steals it for the Cats. Hand pass to Cam Guthrie. Runs into Josh Dacos. Helped out a play and a boundary throw-in. 50 out from the Collingwood goal.
We've hardly seen any action on this side of the ground, have we? Hardly at all. The members have been starved.
Lucky we brought our binoculars, Salas, and the boundary throw-in is Darcy Cameron. Wins it down, then follows up at ground level. Hand pass to Crisp. Kicks inside 50 like a heat-guided missile, but Sam de Koning's on the end of it. Hugs it to his chest in the D50 for Geelong.
Kicks to O'Connor. It's over his head. He taps it to his own advantage. They've got an awkward bounce. Myercheck pitches it outside of the boot. It's across the face. And squeezes in for a minor score to the left. Collingwood by 3 points.
Don't tap the ball. Just take the ball.
He had all the time in the world, Brody Myercheck.
All he had to do was chip it inside.
Eyes light up when you see the goal, Sellers, sometimes.
Some people do.
We had the same advice from Max Holmes earlier. No paddling the footy in the final series. Pick it up. Here's Tui goes on a stroll out of the goal square. Long kick out to the southern wing. No clean possession. Stengel clever. Taps it to his own advantage. Side steps to Goey. Short kick down the boundary line picked off. Nick Dacos to brother Josh. And big brother rolls onto the left boot as he kicks inside 50 for Collingwood. They come from all directions. Elliott flies, spills down underneath the Goey. He's shoved off it. Sam de Koning's hand pass back into dispute. De Goey got it on his backside. He's tackled immediately. And a ball up 45 metres out from the Magpies goal at left half forward. Collingwood lead the game by 3. 7 travelled in the third term.
That's 7 of the last 10 inside 50s. Collingwood. Stanley trying to get a clearance in the back pocket. Pinched by McCreary. Hand pass to Darcy Cameron. Centering kick. Underneath it, Stewart. Flying the other direction was Ash Johnson. It spills the way of Isaac Smith. Arching the back. He gets away from Sidebottom. Takes a bounce at left half back. Wants to feed the hand pass forward. Now decides to retreat back. Hand pass to O'Connor. He's been corralled by Myercheck. Under pressure. Turns it over. Kicks over the head of Isaac Smith. Sidebottom takes the mark. Hand pass to Noble. Inside 50. Elliott had to wait a while. Stewart got back there and was able to spoil it through for a minor score. Collingwood by 4 points. Bit of an awkward landing for Jed Hughes, who's stretching his ankle out. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Was injured. He made it to that next contest and spoiled, and the physio has only just got to him. But Tom Stewart, he's hurting like plenty out there at the moment.
I think he got a knee to the head from Jamie Elliott trying to dive on top of the footy.
Tom Hawkins coming off the ground. He's cut on his elbow. His play's been held up until he trots off the ground. It's an unusual place to be cut. 8 minutes into the third term. Collingwood's last 8 scores. 1 goal, 7. Tui on the kick out. Pies by 4 points. 8 played in the third. Goes straight down the pipe. Not a clean option. Jeremy Cameron trying to mark in the wrestle with Maynard, and it's paid. Jez Cameron back edge of the centre square.
50 metre.
And he'll be right on the paint of the 50-metre line, he should be.
Jack Ginnivan just strolling through the protected zone. And a 50-metre penalty costly. And as you said, the man on the mark's inside.
Nice 50.
Inside the 50, so Ginnivan stands 2 steps inside Geelong's forward arc.
He's got the distance easy now.
So from the kick out straight down the middle to Jeremy Cameron shooting at goal for the first of the second half. He misses.
So 1 goal, 3 now to Cameron Corb.
4-11 to 4-8. Pies by 3 points. Trading behinds for the first 9 minutes of the third quarter.
Party poppers and fireworks to start this third quarter. As Darcy Moore goes straight down the middle, spots Maynard, didn't take the mark but has enough time to clear it from Stengel. Kicks out to Josh Dacos, who marks at left half back. Up to McCreary, he drops the mark, has enough time to regather. Under the Shane Warne stand, back to Josh Dacos, back to McCreary. Loads up, sends it towards half forward. Elliott the marking target, spoiled down by Henry. He had the size advantage in that marking contest and seen how to play for a boundary throw.
I was going to say, Elliott's not the one to kick too high and long.
It's the only one they got.
Yeah, I know, but they need others. Where's
Myercheck?
Where's Cameron? Where are they? Where's Cox?
Cox, yeah.
Pies by 3. Boundary throw-in. Spills down in front of De Goey. Collects the footy as he goes to ground. Holmes tackles him. Another ball up. Again on that southern wing, the Shane Warne stand. They're sitting right in the back row. It's absolutely chockers. You struggle to find many spare blocks or seats together in the MCG this afternoon. From the restart, De Goey on it again. Hand pass for Collingwood out to Pendlebury. Handball along the line. McCreary, clean pick up. Shakes Duncan.
Beautiful.
Kicks inside 50.
Beautiful.
Johnson takes the mark at centre half forward. 50 out.
He's having a good game, McCreary.
Yeah.
It's his 10th possession for the game, squared up, but he's got the role on Tom Stewart. Tom Stewart's had the 13 possessions, but he's only had 4 intercepts in this game, so he's just making it difficult.
Well, it's better than when he was last time. It was 29 and 13.
Correct. Yeah.
It's been emblematic of their season in a way. Ash Johnson, a 24-year-old mid-season recruit. Craig McRae brought out the best in him in a big-time spot. He kicks truly. Collingwood kicked the first of the second half. And the Magpies are out by 9. 5-11-41. Geelong 4-8-32. 11 played in the third term. And there's a lot of questions still to be answered, but if you're asking the question whether the Pies were going to be overmatched in this qualifying final, the answer is quite clearly no.
Well, it's a bad missed tackle by Duncan, how McCreary was just able to push off him, but then the squaring kick, a lot of the time that just gets bombed, that kick inside forward 50, and it's easy for the defenders. But
it was a beauty.
Just composed, find the space where it is, then find your teammate. I'm going to say this again. Geelong's defenders are too high up the ground at the moment. They're getting exposed.
Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sport. Cox and Blitzouts into the middle. Tapped down by Cox. Dangerfield rushes back onto it. Broke the crisp tackle. Incredible balance. Got the hand pass away to Selwood. The old firm combined. Kicks to Myers. Running towards half forward. Looks inside 50. Rowan on the lead. Duncan in from the side. Landed awkwardly. Howe after the loose footy. He slides in. Hawkins' big frame over the top. Hand pass to Rowan. To Duncan back on his feet. He misses to the left-hand side. From 25 metres out, running at full pelt. Cats miss an opportunity. Collingwood lead by 8.
And there's a blood rule called.
And so it should be on Maynard. His eyes cut right across the brow.
And he's going to start jogging towards Tim Hodges, who's on the boundary for us. Hodgie.
I've just been watching Tom Stewart. The doctor has been out to him for a second time. I think they watched the vision that Rammer was talking about the Jamie Elliott knee that he copped to the head. So I think they've been out there multiple times just to double check that he's okay. That is a nasty cut to Braden Maynard. They might have to head down to the rooms for stitches. But the docs are definitely keeping their eye on Tom Stewart just to make sure he's okay.
He'll live, Hodgie. He'll live.
But the ends well on that, and getting back out there as Noble from the kick out goes to Mason Cox, flies in the
That's
pack.
a mark.
Spills through to Darcy Cameron. He wanted to claim it, it wasn't. Falls to Stewart, puts Geelong deep inside 50, across the pack, Darcy Moore. Floating through to take a superb intercept mark. And that's his signature move. Lays off a hand pass to Nick Dacos. Kicks to half back. O'Connor's up trying to outmark Hoskin Elliott. O'Connor races away at the drop. Grabs the footy. Hand pass over to Stewart. To Smith rather. He's gang tackled. And a ball up on the half-forward flank for the Cats. Kicking to the punt right end in the third term. 14 played in the quarter. Collingwood by 8.
Hawkins out of the ruck. Hand pass to Jezza Cameron. Gets the hand pass to Tui. 55 metres out. Inside 50. Close. Can't take the mark. Pendlebury hand passes to his own advantage. Runs to the behind line. Hand pass to Murphy. Bangs it out of defence. Jezza Cameron's waiting for it. He takes the intercepting mark up against the boundary. Veers out to the left. Inside 50. Duncan. Pushing inside the 50, unmarked. He takes the mark directly in front. He's 35, 40 metres out from goal.
Well, they went to the same spot inside forward 50. It's repeat inside forward 50 entries for the Cats. They went to the same spot, high and long, 10 metres out from goal. But then that one by Cameron, it's similar to the McCreary one up the other end. Just waited, patience, composure.
All of a sudden, it's Geelong who need a spark. The ever-reliable Mitch Duncan directly in front, 40 metres out, kicks truly for the Cats. Back to a 2-point ball game, Collingwood's way. The Magpies 5-11-41, Geelong 5-9-39. 15 minutes gone, third term, a goal apiece so far.
Well, Mitch Duncan's a star. He's a great player. Been in the midfield a long time. Sat down back sometimes to play half-back flank. Been everywhere. Really good player. But the ball movement, sometimes it was 3 or 4 he could have gone to. Duncan was probably the best shot. He was right in the middle area. But there was 2 or 3 others he could have hit as well. There wasn't enough players back from the Pies to actually cut it off and stop it. But, geez, the ball movement was great.
Mitch Duncan, one of 4 premiership players in the Geelong 23 today.
They're difficult to hold down.
Playing his 24th final. Back in the team for the first time since round 21 and now on the goal kickers list. 2-point lead for the Pies. Cox wins it in the middle. Ricochets to Nick Dacos, back edge of the square. Sockers it out wide to brother Josh. Josh collects, hand passes out in front of himself. Now Sockers it to half forward. Tui a fumble, closed down by Hoskin Elliott. Hot hand pass away to Selwood, he coughs it up. Josh Dacos for the Pies, gives it to Ngo, he kicks for Johnson. Zach Guthrie can't mark. Spills through to Holmes as a free kick. Zach Guthrie's going to get it. And Johnson made contact after he spilt the mark. Illegally, said the umpire.
Jeez.
The 50-year cat, Zach Guthrie, goes out to the inspirational skipper Selwood at half-back.
Hand pass to Henry, corralled by Myercheck, back to Selwood. Around the southern wing, goes short to Isaac Smith. Spots Cam Guthrie free in the middle of the ground. Just took the mark as Chris closed late. He's attacking side of the centre circles. Hand pass to the run of brother Zach Guthrie. Inside 50, Rowan! Flies through the air uncontested in the end. Marks behind Darcy Moore. And he'll line up directly in front, 35 metres out.
Well, he didn't have an opponent, Rowan, so he just had a run at the ball. Well, Mason Cox was trying to get there. It wasn't his opponent, obviously, but he had
Hawkins was super.
15 metres. Yeah, Hawkins just held Moore out.
Pushed Moore out, yeah.
He knew that Gary Rowan was behind him. Smart play by Tom Hawkins.
Gary Rowan looking to return the Cats to the lead. And his second. Rowan comes in and delivers. Geelong with 2 goals in 2 minutes and they take back the lead. 6-9-45 to Collingwood 5-11-41. It's the Cats by 4 points at the 17-minute mark of the third term.
So they've got a bit of momentum now, the Cats. So now it's over to Collingwood. How do you stop that? So you look at that. So Selwood's involved a couple of times across half-back. The beautiful kick inside to Guthrie, who gives the handball off to brother Guthrie. And then it's inside forward 50. So this has all been done in a couple of minutes by the Cats. And you look at their players, they're rowing, they're trying to give energy after that goal. And let's get another one, boys. Let's keep putting this pressure on. Collingwood now, they'll try to slow this game for the next couple of minutes, try to wrestle back some ascendancy.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Braden Maynard back from the rooms for the Pies, straight back on the ground. He's got some stitches above that right eye.
4th lead change, Geelong by 4. Back in the middle, Stanley wins it down to Dangerfield, tackled, lost it. Atkins grabs it, Cox got him high. And Tom Atkins attending the centre bounce, as he's done for much of the year, goes long to centre half forward. Cameron in the pack. Howe flies over the top, no mark. Spills down to Duncan. Sweeping hand pass forward, trying to get it to Hawkins. Look away handball straight to side bottom. High bomb to half back. Arriving late, Hoskin Elliott. Critical fist.
That's important.
There were 3 Cats waiting for it, and Hoskin Elliott bangs it out of play.
Yeah, Tui, Dangerfield, and Guthrie were all there.
Inside 50s, 9-8, Geelong's way in this third term. Thrown back in. Hawkins and Cox, it gets to the back. Nick Dacos kicks to the southern wing. Elliott got a tough bounce. Zach Guthrie to Stanley. He's locked up and gone. Myercheck got him. And a tap of encouragement from Jamie Elliott. It's all in the short, working beautifully together there.
And handball it to a ruckman. Pretty simple.
Ever.
All of a sudden, seconds become milliseconds in finals. As Myercheck on half-back, kicks through the middle of the ground. Cox was there. Johnson was the flyer. O'Connor stayed down. Short kick to Dangerfield. Awkward hand pass to Stengel. Tries to regather it. He didn't get a clean hand pass away, Danger. He has a third go at it. Hand pass to Cam Guthrie. To brother Zach. kicks to Mitch Duncan at right half forward. He's 55 metres out. Hawkinson off with the lead. He hand passes over the top to Smith. Kicks to the goal mouth. Holmes is there. 1-2. Couldn't complete the mark. Sidebottom pushes him into the pocket. Hand pass to the goal mouth. Can Myers finish? Gives it to Close. He hits the post. Hits the right goalpost 3/4 of the way up. And from about 5 or 6 metres out, just couldn't finish the job. Cats by 5 points. 20 minutes gone, third term.
They did so much right there, the Cats.
Geelong by 5. As we tick into time on in the third term.
They're gasping now, the Pies, aren't they? They're sort of fumbling and bumbling around.
Maynard marks the kick out, goes long to the wing through the hands of Stuart McCreary, who's been excellent, darting through the centre square. 2 bounces, looks for Elliott, skids to him and Tui. First one there. Elliott grabs him, dispossessed in the tackle. Pack forms. Hump says, I'll have it. And the ball up half forward for Collingwood. Umpire Rosebery chucks it in the air. Stanley pushes it out wide. De Goey overruns it. Dangerfield sits on top of it. Crisp has got him. And we'll do it all again. A ball up 48 metres out from the Collingwood goal at right half forward. Geelong by 5.
Tossed into the night sky. Cox wins down the tap. Spills to Crisp. Kicks inside 50. A dribbling ball against the boundary. Elliott can't turn Tui inside out. And he's shoved over the line for a throw in. Right forward pocket for the Pies. Cats by 5 points. Third quarter qualifying final. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital. Cox and Stanley. Cox tries to knock it down to De Goey. He couldn't take it cleanly. Knocks it to Crisp. Off balance. Swings it goalwood. Something out of nothing. Jack Crisp returns Collingwood to the front. Pies by a point. And one of the most durable players with a moment of class. Collingwood 6-11-47 to the Cats 6-10-46. 22 minutes gone. Third term.
Well, Jack Cripps finished that off, but they haven't had it in their forward line for so long, and you haven't had many chances in their forward line for so long. But that was a really good goal for them. Puts them back in the game, right back to 1 point, is it? 1 point game. Fantastic. This game is just amazing me at the moment. Goes up and down. Pies need more inside 50s. Go a bit low this quarter. They're 8-14, I think it was it? Where is it? 10-9. It was 10-8 before that. All of a sudden they get one in there as well. So Jack Crisp, beauty.
6-11 to 6-10. 5th lead change in the game. And in the final series overall, we're 11 quarters in. We've had 29 lead changes already.
29.
And now free kick.
And we've kicked 6 goals.
Yeah, 6-6-6 infringement.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
And it's going Collingwood's way, so Darcy Cameron to take it. Sends a helicopter to McCreary. Spills a chest mark. Falls to Adams. Centre half forward for the Pies. McCreary gets another goal. He took on the tackler. O'Connor got him. Free kick for the Cats at centre half back. 17 lead changes Thursday night. 7 last night. 5 tonight. And we're not done yet as O'Connor goes straight down the middle late in the third. Collingwood by a point. No clean possession at the drop. Spills to Howe. His hand pass knocked away by Atkins. Howe was held without it. Against Holmes, who laid the tackle. Free kick for Collingwood. Back into the
50 metre.
That should be 50.
Gee, it was Duncan who threw the footy back and threw it around the bootlaces of Howe.
Oh, that's wrong.
Spots to Goey free and Hoskin-Elliott on the members wing. Kicks inside 50. Johnson up. Can't take the mark. Spills to the back. O'Connor's onto it. Got around McCreary. Hand pass to Stewart to Zach Guthrie against the boundary. Kicks off the outside of the boot. In towards Dangerfield. Couldn't take the mark. Holmes hand pass just missed Duncan. Nick Dacos got a crucial touch in there. Hand pass to Quaynor was taken high by Holmes. Collingwood take the advantage. Hoskin-Elliott into the pocket. Johnson just in the field of play.
He kicked one from this exact same spot against Carlton. The check side, the old school check side. We're so used to seeing him kick bananas now. But back yourself in, young fella.
This is a guy in just his 7th game of AFL footy. Picked up in the mid-season draft last year. He's playing in front of 90,000 at the MCG. He's kicked a goal in this third quarter, thinking his way through, outside of the boot. Don't tell me! Arms outstretched as he turns to the Collingwood faithful. You know my name now. Ash Johnson with something special from the pocket. You can make a name of yourself in September footy. Collingwood by 7 points. 7-11, 53 to the Cats, 6-10, 46. When it left the boot rammer, I didn't know if it was going through.
It's such a hard skill to master, to be able to do that, to have the confidence to be able to do that. It's why I love football. I just love those moments in a game where a player takes the responsibility upon himself. You look at the celebration. He's just gone straight to the crowd to celebrate. Get the noise levels up, Sellers.
That's what Craig McRae would want.
Yeah.
Chance, take your chance, have a crack at it. Let's go. You got to own the moment.
What an amazing story from Halls Creek, up in the far north of WA. Mid-season recruit here on the MCG on qualifying final night, and the big-time goal. Two of them in the third quarter now.
So all of a sudden, it's all tipped on its head. Pies kicked 2 in a row.
Pies by 7. Momentum back with Collingwood. Break to Geelong, though, through Selwood. Kicks to centre half forward. Hawkins at the drop, no mark. Spills through to Jez Cameron, can't take it clean. Maynard sockers it out on the full. Inadvertently, it was around his bootlaces. And he's kicked it. It's ballooned off the top part of his foot and over the boundary line. And sprinting over to it is Jeremy Cameron.
And he shouldn't have.
You think he'll do the banana kick?
Left peg against the fence. Left half forward. He's looking back inside. He'll have to kick it 45 out. With his left foot against the advertising hoardings. He moves in now. He's going with the drop punt. That is special. What a finish. And Jeremy Cameron says, let me hear you. From out wide at left half forward, the left footer threads the needle. 27 gone in the third, and this game just finds another gear yet again. Collingwood by 1, 7-11 to 7-10, and the Stars are out at the G tonight.
Well, it's the pair of kicks, a pair of goals that we've just seen then, and you'll never see that again. You may see it again, but gee whiz, that's brilliant. On the wrong side of there.
He's kicked the drop punt, Jeremy Cameron.
But with a cutback, with a slice on it. That's the best part about it. So, and you can do that. I've seen people do it. So he's a genius.
Just a slight
and Johnson the other end.
In salary, Rammer, from one end to the other.
I think Ash Johnson's salary will increase.
I think it will if he can kick goals like that. How good is that? September footy. Both forwards taking their moment. Cameron, that's Darcy in the middle of the ground. Tackle dispossessed. Selwood bangs it inside 50. Darcy Moore spoils it away from Hawkins. Spinning through traffic for Collingwood. And locking the footy up on the very bottom of the pack is Jeremy Howe.
As if the kicks weren't as equally difficult. The celebrations were the same as well. Just pointing to the listeners.
35 metres out from the Geelong goal. Hawkins tried to use his big frame to create space. Taylor Adams gathers. Hand pass to Howe. Sidebottom slaps it to his own advantage boundary side. After him is Duncan. He does this so well, Sidebottom. Just fumbles it out of play for a boundary throw. In all his experience in his 14th season in the black and white. And a boundary throw in 55 metres out from Geelong's goal. Collingwood by a point.
3 goals each in his third term. Back where we were at the half, the Magpies by 1. Time on third term from the boundary throw-in. Stanley out of the ruck, kicks it deep inside 50. Punched away in the end by Hawkins. It's over the boundary line and a throw-in. Forward pocket for Geelong. 29 minutes into the third term.
What a great quarter.
And the sun set in Melbourne. From the boundary throw-in, Darcy Cameron down to Howe, who got off his knees to grab possession, give it to Pendlebury, kicks out to half-back. Ginnivan, who's been a little quiet, involved out there with Stewart. Stewart, a clever tap, away to Henry. Hand pass from Henry, back to Stewart, feeds it forward, there's Ginnivan, lays a big tackle, ball spills out of play, and a throw-in on the southern wing. The Collingwood fans wanted a little more.
Do you think there's more Collingwood fans here?
I think you're right, Sellers. Half hour mark, third term. Collingwood by 1, 7-11 to 7-10. 5 lead changes in the game. A seesawing match so far.
It is a Geelong final, of course, much to their chagrin. Sidebottom from the throw-in. Hand pass looking for Pendlebury. Can't take it. Sliding in Atkins. Could have been taken high. Umpire eventually saw it that way. No. And Blitzavs has the footy locked to his chest. Between wing and half forward for the Cats. Thrown up. Darcy Cameron wins down the tap into space. Side bottom. Squeeze the kick up the southern wing. Stewart read it best. He's lost his footing though. Hand pass to Cam. Guthrie turns it over. Lipinski there on the break. Collingwood and Elliott's on the lead. He marks in the left forward pocket. On a 45-degree angle. He'll kick from just on 50.
Again, it's Jamie Elliott inside forward 50 with one opponent. There's no assistance from Geelong's other defenders whatsoever. The ball spills out. All you got to be good at. Elliott's going to win on the lead. He's lightning quick.
Yeah, he's smart.
He knows where to lead.
Just the two behinds from the 6 disposals for Jamie Elliott. But we know he can do his best work late. Out to the left. Elliott looking to extend the Collingwood lead. It's right to the goal line. It's beyond it. Collingwood answer back. 4 goals to 3 in this third term. A seesawing affair. The Magpies 8-11-59 to Geelong 7-10-52. Jamie Elliott with his first goal of the match.
Sometimes it's good to have a smaller forward line. Someone who moves like that instead of just banging it high and long into the square and go, oh, hang on, who's going to catch this? And it's easy to push away. But he's got really good, smart, quick movement at the start, and then he just blows them away. Gets out in front, hits it, and then he kicked that, which is really good. This quarter's been superb. I think we've kicked 7 or 8 goals in this quarter, what I can see so far. And it's the best quarter of the game so far, but it's gone both ways. It's been fantastic.
Now 3 of the last 4 for the Magpies. After Geelong hit the front at the 18-minute mark of the quarter. Collingwood by 7. 32 minutes into the third. Darcy Cameron leaps high at the restart, but Stanley palms it down to Selwood, who's been excellent. Kicks to half forward. Ball skids through in front of Rowan. Can't take it clean. Hoskin Elliott swats it down for Collingwood. Maynard's onto it. Hand pass to Pendlebury. Oh, sweeping hand pass to no one. Up on the wing. Selwood's there. Taps it to Cam Guthrie. Rolls around onto his right boot. Sends Geelong inside 50. Quaynor leaps up. It clean bowls all of them. At the end of it, Isaac Smith knocks it down to Noble. Noble's kick sails out on the full. Puts it 3 rows back. Trying to rebound out of defensive 50. Free kick for Zach Guthrie.
Not a bad result.
High half forward for Geelong.
Not a bad result in the
end. Numbers back.
Yeah, they get the numbers back, and then they start to move it.
All bar a handful of players inside Geelong's attacking 50. Up goes Nick Dacos. Spoils it down. Hoskin Elliott's kick to the top of the defensive 50. Blitzouts wore the contact. Hand pass to Selwood. Run down. McCreary and Lipinski on him in a moment.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he can't get a disposal away and the umpire will throw it up.
Just no chance Selwood there to get that ball on his boot.
50 out from the Cats' goal. Darcy Cameron tries to take it out of the ruck. It ricochets off his hands into Lipinski's. Kicks up the members' wing. Cox can't gather. Henry can't either. Little toe poke from Cox to Elliott. Waits for players streaming by. McCreary boundary side. Buse is loose inside defensive 50. Dribbles a kick towards Lipinski. Buse the other way. Big collision. Cam Guthrie picks it up for Geelong. Up to the members' wing. In from the side. Blitzavs. He spoils it out of play.
Oh, that's good.
This qualifying final is just getting good.
That was so important by Jed Buse. Lipinski one way, Buse the other. It was a genuine 50-50. And Buse put his body on the line to win that ball. Otherwise, Collingwood were in for another goal.
Pies by 7. 34 minutes into the third term from the boundary throw-in. Darcy Cameron first touch, then follows up. Hand pass to Lipinski, taps it to Quaynor. Hand pass to Pendlebury across the G. Links up with his premiership teammate side bottom. Kicks looking for Johnson out on the lead, not to be. Knocked down to Crest. Centre half forward for the Magpies, gives it to Quaynor. He's tackled and lost it. Tui spin move, straight into trouble. Hurried hand pass to Stewart. Kicks hurriedly out wide. Southern wing. Noble's there. That'll do us through 3.
Have a rest.
And this has been everything we hoped it would be. 3-quarter time at the G. Collingwood by 7. 5 lead changes. And every possession feels like the most important one of the night. The pressure gauge is through the roof. And Collingwood lead it by 7 points as we turn for home against a team that has lost only 4 times in season 2022. It's Collingwood 8-11-59, Geelong 7-10-52. The goal kickers for For Collingwood, Ash Johnson has 2. They both came in that third term. And then singles for Lipinski, Elliott, Josh Dacos, Crisp, Hoskin Elliott and Myercheck. While for Geelong, Jeremy Cameron has a couple, Gary Rowan 2. And then singles for Duncan, Hawkins and Close. And the best news is there's still another whole game of finals footy to come. The elimination final over in the west between Fremantle and the Bulldogs. Tim Hodges is on the boundary for us, 3/4 time, Collingwood by 7. Hodgie.
Just watching Tom Hawkins, he went over to the physio and they've both sprinted to the room. So something's not right with the key forward for the Cats, and he is currently on his way down the race to the Cats' rooms. He'll miss the 3/4 time huddle, so we'll keep you posted.
Good spotting, Hodgie. We'll come back to you shortly on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Sport Digital. The Pies by 7 at 3/4 time. This is Grandstand, AFL.
ABC, your trusted source of accurate and timely emergency information.
We've had the ABC on basically all afternoon listening.
There's so much going on. Getting news is a priority.
Well, I'm a fan of the ABC.
It must be love, love, love.
I listen to the ABC every day. I'm extremely grateful.
ABC Radio, reliable source for information.
On radio, on the ABC Listen app and the ABC Emergency website.
It must be love, love, love.
ABC, stay connected.
The 2022 AFL Finals.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Been emblematic of their season and away. Ash Johnson, a 24-year-old mid-season recruit. Craig McRae brought out the best in him in a big-time spot. He kicks truly. Collingwood kicked the first of the second half.
The ever-reliable Mitch Duncan directly in front, 40 metres out. Kicks truly for the Cats. Back to a 2-point ball game, Collingwood's way. Gary Rowan looking to return the Cats to the lead. And his second. Rowan comes in and delivers. Cox and Stanley. Cox tries to knock it down to Go. He couldn't take it cleanly. Knocks it to Chris. Off balance. Swings it goalwood. Something out of nothing. Hand pass to Quaynor was taken high by Holmes. Collingwood take the advantage. Hoskin Elliott into the pocket. Johnson just in the field of play. He's kicked a goal in this third quarter, thinking his way through, outside of the boot. Don't tell me! Arms outstretched as he turns to the Collingwood faithful. You know my name now, Ash Johnson.
Jeremy Cameron, left peg against the fence, left half forward. He'll have to kick it 45 out as he moves in now. He's going with the drop punt. That is special. What a finish. And Jeremy Cameron says, let me hear you.
Out to the left, Elliott looking to extend the Collingwood lead. It's right to the goal line, it's beyond it.
The 2022 AFL Finals.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Final quarter to decide at the first qualifying final. Collingwood by 7 points. At 3/4 time, a match with 5 lead changes. The first elimination final is on tonight. Of course, the loser of our game will play the winner of what's coming up next between Fremantle and the Bulldogs. Clint Weldon heading up the call over in Perth. Clint.
Thank you, Corbin. Appropriate too, considering what Collingwood did to have both of these teams in this game, the Dockers and the Bulldogs, in an elimination final, all thanks to that 1-point win over the Magpies over Carlton back in round 23, of course. Really interesting in the build-up, all friendly. Many niceties as the likes of Bob Murphy and Matthew Boyd, the Dockers now, go across and chat with their former Bulldogs teammates and extend the best of luck. That will all be forgotten in around about an hour and a bit's time. The elimination final, as you say, how do the Bulldogs go without the likes of Tom Liberatore? How do the Dockers perform without their captain and dual Brownlow medalist Nat Fyfe? There's plenty of focus on both forward lines, Jamari Ugle-Hagan and Sam Darcy, a 20-year-old and a 19-year-old, and at the other end, in just what would be for Fremantle a really impressive effort, his second game, Jai Amos, the 19-year-old. How will he go for the Dockers? Fremantle back in the finals for the first time since 2015. Looking forward to bringing it to you, Corbs.
That's all still to come. Thanks, Clint. So up next, Fremantle and the Bulldogs, the elimination final in the West. So the pitch is starting to take shape. Sydney through to a prelim. We've got Brisbane and Melbourne next Friday night here at the G. The winner of this game will avoid a prelim in the Harbour City. They'll host one here at the G in week 3. The loser will play the winner of Fremantle and the Dogs next Saturday night. Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas, Collingwood by 7.
Give me a better quarter than that. That was just sensational what they did. 4 goals to Collingwood, 3 goals to the Cats. They've actually stopped them a little bit, Collingwood. They've actually slowed them down. And when you have a look at the statistics, it's just unbelievable, really. The disposals area is very similar with 270 to 256, and then you get to the marks area, 67, 46. All of a sudden, contested possessions, 30 to 29. 30 clearances, 30 to 29. Contested ball in that area as well. So all of a sudden you're going inside 50, 41, 41. It's just so close you can't breathe almost, in the sense. And the ball goes up and down the ground. The battles are hard. It's been a game, and no one's going to leave the ground. Not one person's going to leave this ground at any stage, and it's jam-packed. It's been brilliant. It's been fantastic.
Pendlebury with 24, Josh Dacos 22, John Noble 20, Cam Guthrie with 20 for the Cats, and Mitch Duncan with 18. We said at the start, for Collingwood fans, you'd want to be within 2 kicks, 3 kicks, heading into the final term. The Cats, the minor premiers, here we go, final term on ABC Sport. Stanley rose high against Darcy Cameron. It spills away at Pendlebury, sockers it out onto the members' wing. Sidebottom can't gather, Selwood can, kicks end over end, out towards Myers and Nick Dacos. And it rolls out of play. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Tom Hawkins spent most of the three-quarter time break in the Geelong rooms. He emerged, he's back out on the ground in the forward line. I'm not sure what was wrong with him, but he looks to be okay out there.
Geelong, of course, have only won one of their past 9 finals in the first week. Sidebottom from half-back, kicks around the members' wing. Myercheck hit it with speed. Hand pass to Maynard. Pulls his kick looking for Hoskin. Elliott, top of the square. Stewart underneath it. Marks at the back edge of the centre square. Drives a long kick straight down the middle looking for Stengel. Can't take the mark. He and Rowan first back onto it. Rowan taps it to his own advantage. Taps it to Myers. Head over the footy. Sidebottom lays the tackle. Umpire says it isn't high. And a ball up 35 metres out from the Cats' goal. They're heading to the city end in this final term. Collingwood by 7.
If you put your head in like that, that's when you deserve to get what you get.
Up it goes. One down by Darcy Cameron. Atkins there, though, for Geelong. Feeds a hand pass out to Holmes. Snapping across the body. Kicks it right to the behind line. It's off target. Floats through for a minor score for Max Holmes. One straight kick in it. Collingwood by 6. 8-11 to 7-11. 90 seconds into the final quarter.
Darcy Moore looks for options. Sends it towards Darcy Cameron. He flies in the pack, can't take the mark. Ash Johnson stood down, or stayed down, gets the hand pass to DeGoey. Now to Josh Dacos, thought about southern side, then darts back to the middle. Nothing on offer there either, so back to brother Nick, your problem. He goes short and finds Will Hoskin-Elliott on the southern stand wing. Collingwood by 6 points. Quaynor offers a lead in the corridor. He spots that up. He marks in front of Myers. Right half back for the Magpies. Has Darcy Moore back inside the defensive 50. Decides to go there. Collingwood will try and execute the switch. Out to Howe, who marks at left half back. Works his way up the members' wing. Up now towards McCreary on half forward. Couldn't take the chest mark. Holmes gathers, trying to link up with Hughes or Blitzavs. Blitzavs slipped over. Sidebottom's hand pass inboard to Pendlebury. Hand pass to McCreary. He's got players free at the top of the centre square. It skids past Cameron. Josh Dacos onto it. Hand pass to Lipinski. To Jordan DeGoey from 40 metres out. He puts it through. And Collingwood strike first in the final term. It's a 12-point lead the Magpies' way. And the belief which is built all season is starting to come to fruition in the final term. 9-11-65 to Geelong, 7-11-53. 3 minutes gone, final term.
Well, it's just a little slip by Blitzards there, and then Collingwood pounced on it because they've got numbers around. They're outnumbering at that contest, that first contest. The ball then gets nicely centred back through the middle of the ground. Josh Dacos, one handball. Lipinski then the most important second handball because it releases DeGoey into space for him to kick the goal. 12-point lead. It's
not over yet.
No, definitely not over, but they're doing it a lot right, the Pies.
Back in the middle, Darcy Cameron palms it down. Atkins there for the Cats. Hand pass away to Selwood. Off the back edge of the square, kicks inside 50. Jeremy Cameron. Pack mark in front of Howe and Nick Dacos and comes down with it.
Strong.
He's in the right spot.
Selwood's been enormous in this game.
Yeah, he has been good.
He's had 19 possessions, 4 clearances, 9 contested. He's just been tough.
Cameron's taken 4 marks, 9 possessions, a couple of goals.
This is why they got him to Geelong. Jeremy Cameron delivers. Straight through it goes for his third. And the Cats are back within a goal again. 5 played, final term. Another hammer blow back the other way. 9-11 to 8-11. What a game of footy, 5 minutes into the final term of the qualifying final.
Well, Jeremy Cameron's kicked 3. I know that's a big number when you talk about an 8 goals or 9 goal game. That's 33% of the whole score he's had for himself. He takes marks, he runs, he's quick, he's a weapon up there. And if they keep feeding him and giving him some space, he'll kick some more. He's kept them in the game.
I'm waiting for Dangerfield in this game.
Where is he?
He's only had 15 possessions. He hasn't been at his strong,
powerful,
pack-breaking best in this game. Can he have a big quarter?
He's in the centre square here alongside Taylor Adams. Bounce in the middle. Stanley wins down the tap, but it's the goey for Collingwood who sharks it. He sprints clear, kicks inside 50. Hoskin Elliott. He marks just inside 50 out to the right.
That was a great clearance by De Goey.
All eyes are looking at the deeper options.
Love him or hate him, he's power running out of the centre of the ground has been enormous.
Well, he's had a game high 4 centre bounce clearances.
That is the beauty of the 666. The sides who can capitalise from the centre bounce. Will Hoskin Elliott out to the right from right on 50. Sets fly. It's to the goal line. Stanley's there. He fits it back into play. Awkward ball for Buse. He gathers. He's got a couple of metres on Josh Dacos, sends it towards
that's
Myers,
a push in the back.
And Nick Dacos shoved Nick right in the middle of the back. As you heard.
Seriously, that was ridiculous. They don't pay it anymore. I don't know why, but they paid that one.
He's one of the 6 Collingwood players out there in their first final. His team up by 6 points as many minutes travelled final term. Nick Dacos into the pocket, crashing the pack. Darcy Cameron spills down to Buse. He's tackled by Hoskin Elliott. Will have the ball up forward pocket for the Magpies. Collingwood by 6.
6 points.
They've led most of the night, and as Stanley palms it down to Dangerfield. Hurried kick out of the defensive 50. Wrestle on, Brian Myers and Nick Dacos. Dacos turns him inside out. Hand pass to Josh. Swings a handball back to Quaynor. Dumps a kick inside 50, and the saving mark.
He's gone for it.
Blitzarves, who pulls the trigger to Koning. Just marks opposite back flank.
Another in his first final. Didn't let his fellow defender down. Away to Tui. The hand pass to Holmes. He runs the members wing. Back to Tui. Is close free at right half forward. Links up by hand. Into the pocket. Too wide for Jezza Cameron. And the Collingwood fans do the adjudicating for the boundary umpire as well. Darcy Moore has it in the left back pocket. Collingwood by 6 points, a goal apiece through the opening 7 minutes of this final term. Darcy Moore sends it long towards Myercheck in front to Koning. Spoiled it down. Collingwood have the numbers. Adams' underground hand pass to Sidebottom. Trying to tap it to his own advantage. It bounced off Tui. Now Darcy Cameron over the top. And the footy stuck underneath he and Tui for a ball up.
Pies by 6. 7.5 played final term on Grandstand AFL for a place in a preliminary final here at home from the restart. And Guthrie to Dangerfield. And as he's tackled, his kick ends up out on the full. And the pressure from Darcy Cameron. Sidebottom and Collingwood free. Half back. Kicks down the members' wing to Koning in the box seat. No mark. Good effort to spoil Myercheck. Pinballs back inboard to Atkins of the Cats. Hand pass to Holmes in front of the interchange gates. Sets it down to half forward for Geelong. Half volley pick up from Hawkins clean. Gives it to Stengel. Inside 50. Diving sprawling effort unsuccessful from Rowan. Quaynor mops it up for Collingwood. Two efforts.
Good down there.
Hand pass to Josh Dacos who can come out of defence.
Kicks up to the wing where Lipinski takes the mark in between two cats. They're on the fast forward. Elliott's free on 50. Stewart racing back. Elliott takes the mark. He's got Cox, Tagoe, Myercheck and Ginnivan all in the 50. Ginnivan's unmarked. And Elliott, maybe he's thinking goals.
Don't think so.
Tom Stewart stands on the 50-metre arc. Jamie Elliott out to the right. Pulls his kick towards the top of the goal square. There's nothing but cats there too. He dropped the mark. Atkins shovels a hand pass out. And Holmes has it on the right back line. He's got nothing up the wing. Jeremy Howe's waiting for the long kick, so Holmes has to run it. Gets the hand pass to Isaac Smith. Linking up with Holmes. He missed him. Side bottom takes it for Collingwood. Close tries to lay the tackle. Hand pass to Adams.
Adams threads it through to Lipinski. Hand pass away to Crisp. Tucks it under his arm. Long kick to the Cox and Myercheck area. Both down there. Fist from blitz-ups. Once, twice over the boundary line. And a throw in forward pocket for Collingwood.
I know we're only early in this quarter. We're 10 minutes in, but it looks like Collingwood have got more run in their legs at the moment.
Don't go off too early.
Just looks like.
Pies by a goal. 10 played final term. Blitz-ups reaching over the back. Myercheck grabs it. Huge tackle. Dangerfield got him ball and all and taken to ground. 20 metres out from the Collingwood attacking goal at the punt road end. 10 played in the quali. Final term, Magpies by a goal.
Dangerfield, the last player to rise. Blitzouts one down the tap to Dangerfield. Ridden in the turf by Myercheck. Tui under pressure. Got it to Buse of the Cats. To Duncan. Almost picked off by Adams. Gave him a shove. Stengels now dealing with it. Hand pass to Atkins. Spirals a kick into the middle of the ground. Darcy Moore underneath. He takes the mark for Collingwood. It's locked in their forward half. Kicks laterally out to the members' wing. Howe takes the mark. Hand pass missed Noble. He regathers. Spears a kick out to side bottom. He gathers on the bounce. Tries to sidestep Holmes. Fumbled it. Kicks inside 50. Elliott on the lead. To Koning takes the mark.
He had one in the middle there too. He had one right in the middle.
Sam de Koning, showing ever reliable on the last line, goes short and Dangerfield has it on half back. Collingwood by 6 points.
Hasn't had massive finals in recent times. Patrick Dangerfield and below his
two
best
on the mark. It's 50 metres.
Tonight he goes short to Duncan. Myercheck and Ginnivan both standing there. They clear Myercheck out of the way. Hurried kick from Duncan to turnover. Noble takes the intercept mark on the wing. Pies by 6. They trap it in their front half. 11 travelled final term. Noble looks inside 50. Ginnivan's got to go in front. Marked by Duncan. He chops it off again for the Cats at half back.
That's such a poor kick by Noble. Seriously.
It's a lot of kick to kick at the moment.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Terrible.
It's in the schoolyard.
Duncan inboard to Isaac Smith. Hand pass to Dangerfield. Defensive 50. Tries to brush through Quaynor. Hand pass to Myers through the middle of the ground to O'Connor. Sidesteps one. Hand pass forward under desperation to Selwood. Slick as a flash to Atkins. Inside 50 to close. Turns. Short option. Blitzouts missed him. He gathers the loose footy. Slapped away by Howe. Crucial touch. Collingwood through side bottom. Zach Guthrie's there. Crisp knocks it to half back. Ginnivan over the top of the footy. Cam Guthrie over the top of him, and the umpire will ball it up.
Great job by the Pies to get out of there. That was really, really dangerous stuff. Just hung in there.
Final on the line. 13 played final term. Pies by 6 from the restart. Selwood spun around. Got a hand pass going north though. Finds Duncan. Duncan's mowed down. Huge tackle. Nick Dacos up says play on. Geelong are going to get it back. Controversial. Smith the 1-2 with close. Smith for goal. He misses. Out to the left. And the Pies are howling at that. All of a sudden it's a 5-point game. Magpies still lead it. 13 played final quarter. No call.
Pat Lipinski just got to Isaac Smith to put enough pressure on to put him off his kick. Darcy Moore with the kicking duties for Collingwood. Pies by 5 points. Sends it to half back. Mason Cox in the air, didn't get to the contest. Spills to the front. Tagoe barrels the kick around the wing. Bounces in front of Elliott over the boundary line. Insufficient intent.
You can't do that. That is totally wrong. That's a bloke who has no feel for this game.
Oh, Stewart took the free kick into the middle of the ground for Duncan. He claims the mark and runs forward. As he wasn't quite able to take it at full purchase, Atkins is dragged down. Ball spills towards Noble. He can't take it cleanly. Over the top goes Zach Guthrie and now Atkins. And the umpire's going to ball it up.
Yeah, that is just if you like that, that was terrible.
Friendly reminder, Collingwood have won 11 games this year, decided by 2 goals or less. They lead it by 5 from the restart on the wing. Adams kicks forward and Stewart floats through to take the intercept mark. Bangs bodies with Myercheck in the air.
Got to move Geelong's forwards. There's a lot of standing again. Cameron's standing. Hawkins is standing.
Stewart kicks up into the front half. He kicks in the Cameron direction. That's Jazzy. Flies for it. No mark. Falls through to Hawkins. Adams goes over the top. Ball comes out back door. Pendlebury to Howe by hand. And Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Noble. Slick hand pass. Side bottom at half back. He's got Ginnivan short. He took an age to kick it to him. Last minute. Ginnivan taps it down to Pendlebury. Ball in motion. Hand pass to side bottom. Took on Atkins.
That's not holding the ball.
Tackled out of play. Umpire says spin it in. 70 out from the Geelong goal at the City end. It is Collingwood by 5. 15 played.
It's a good game, isn't it?
It's a terrific game of football. Pressure is just enormous.
That's great.
By both teams.
Thrown back in, Cox and Stanley. Cox knocks it down to the front. Atkins can't get a clean disposal away. Mason tries to knock it on. Holmes was dragged down as he tried to knock it forward. Pendlebury with a hand pass to Nick Dacos. Pulled his kick, spotted Ginnivan.
Go.
He's got Johnson free now, he realises. Finds him at left half forward. Elliott inside the 50. Hoskin Elliott pushing to full forward as well. Ash Johnson veers out to the right. Sends a high ball inside 50. Elliott's there. Zach Guthrie got hands to it. Spoils it down to Smith. Hand pass away to Henry. Works it to Tui. Hugs the boundary line with a kick to the right back pocket. Jed Hughes has it for the Cats. Collingwood by 5 points, 15 minutes gone, final turn.
In his 16th final, Jed Hughes. He's only played in 5 winning teams in that time. He goes down the wing to Rowan, runs through, bounces off his Scott in the end. Sam DeConing had it, lost it. Hand pass to Stanley. Tackled, got it out. Holmes' hand pass went wide. Myers keeps it in. Dumps a kick forward, slides through to Jeremy Cameron. Howe went over the top. Cameron connects with Hawkins. Hand pass over to Selwood. Selwood kicks inside 50. Stengel marks. Hand pass to Close. Cats take the lead. Close bangs it up into the second deck. 16 played in the final turn, and the Cats go back in front. They go end to end. And all the key players are involved. Close with his second. Geelong by 1. 6th lead change. Make sense of that. Adam Ramanaskas and Mark McClure.
It's the composure piece here. Now, Hawkins easily could have got the ball, quickly gone inside 450, but he sees his great mate in Joel Selwood, gives the handball over. Selwood there with the composure. He finds Stengel. He had 2 options, but Stengel was the right one. Stengel then sees his mate Brad Close in the goal square, gives the handball over. Just the little pieces of composure there by Geelong. All in front of us here, Sellers. Just terrific play, terrific composure in such a stressful moment.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Just keeping an eye on Jeremy Cameron. He hurt his left knee in that contest before that Hawkins got the ball out, so the doctor's been out to him.
Selwood gets the clearance, kicks it out in front of Stengel, tries to knock it onto Close, but Noble gets back first. Tackle by Close, great tackle, not rewarded. Everyone kind of turned to the umpire, and Brad Close with his arms outstretched, just asking the question.
That territory now. The territory gains for the remainder of this quarter, so important.
2 ruckman tangled. Pendlebury with a hand pass back to Hoskin Elliott, kicks up the members wing, no mark claimed. Taylor Adams front and centre, kicked off his shin as he slipped over. He might have done a groin injury.
He's hurt him.
As Jordan DeGoey's over the footy, and Taylor Adams is lying face down in the middle of the MCG turf. And you can hear maybe a couple of the Collingwood players just saying, we can't continue here. He's in the proximity and he is seriously hurt.
He's done his groin again, unfortunately.
He's in trouble.
Yeah.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
He actually missed the ball.
I've never seen this, guys. They've already made the sub. They know he's done. They know the fine line that he probably was coming into this game in. He's obviously done it badly. He's in absolute agony being helped off by 2 trainers. The sub has already been made. Nathan Kruger is into this game and he's getting ready to come onto the ground.
Hadn't played since round 20. He told us pre-match he felt right to go at the end of last week. but an injury in the last term. Selwood gets it to Myers, kicks towards Dangerfield at half forward. It clears him. Quaynor racing back. Rowan trying to get a crucial tap in to link up with Stengel, and it goes out of play. Hodgie.
Oh, that was heartbreaking. Taylor Adams sobbing uncontrollably as he went down the stairs down to the room. So he knows that wherever the Magpies go in this year, he won't be now a part of it.
Boundary throw in, Geelong by 1, half forward for the Cats. To go, he got a kick away, but straight to Stengel. Stengel just kicks it as deep as he can inside 50. Flying through Murphy, no mark. Hand pass from Pendlebury, got the Noble, back to Pendles, free kick.
The problem with the Taylor Adams injury, he's had 8 tackles for the game.
Yeah.
He's been such a pressure player. He's had a lot of possession, 16 possessions. But it's around the contest that he's been so good today, Taylor Adams.
Noble's taken high after getting rid of the footy, so he goes short to Maynard. The All-Australian back pocket. Drives the kick up to the wing. Johnson got hands to it. No mark. Slips to Blitzarfs. Cats have got it on halfway. Holmes to Smith. Hand pass to Zach Guthrie. High bomb down the wing. Plenty of Collingwood players there. Off hands, it spills to Pendlebury.
Underground hand pass towards Segoe. He tries to knock it on. O'Connor ran into a Collingwood opponent, and the footy locked underneath him. Jack Crisp.
Ash Johnson came down hard in that marking contest. Yeah, he's hurt as well.
John Noble just pointing head to the bench. We've got numbers there. Cox wins down the tap, centre of the members wing. Lipinski, hand pass away to Hoskinelli outside of the boot. Puts it 3 rows back, past the Geelong bench and into the crowd. So how much adjustment will Collingwood need to make here with Kruger coming in?
Well, it just allows them some freshness in their forward line. He's going to play forward. He's just come on the ground for Ash Johnson. So can he have an impact? Can he take a big contested mark inside forward 50?
What a set of finals. 6 lead changes tonight. Geelong by 1 as we tick into time on final term. Smith to half forward. Darcy Cameron takes the intercept mark for Collingwood. Cats by a point. Hand pass to Noble. Short kick to Lipinski. Winner gets a home prelim. The losers on the same side of the bracket as Sydney, the Western Bulldogs and Fremantle. That's their path to a grand final for the team that loses. The winner gets a week off, and they'll play the winner of Brisbane and Melbourne. As Maynard goes down the wing to Kruger, the former Cat, out there in black and white in just his 6th game. The sub who's on for Tay Adams. Geelong by a point, 21 travelled, final turn.
Hasn't featured since round 6. The September Bolter kicks towards Darcy Cameron. It clears him. Ginneran at the back. Kick smothered by Henry. Gathered by O'Connor. Sends the Cats to half-back as he finds Close. Right half-back for Geelong. Cats by a point. 21 minutes gone, final turn. Close looks long. Down the members' wing. Kicks towards Hawkins. In a wrestle with Maynard. Maynard a shove. Takes the mark. Centre wing members' side.
Not many can do that.
Maynard short to Noble. And with zero hyperbole, Collingwood the best team in this scenario that this competition has ever seen. 11 wins this season by under 2 goals. As the Pies down by 1. Noble to centre half forward. They crash the pack. Spills to Smith. He just bangs it forward. Dangerfield's down there. Got his knuckles to it. Skids out to the wing. Bobbling footy. Maynard's onto it. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Short kick to Lipinski. He can put Collingwood to centre half forward. Pendlebury marks to DeGoey. DeGoey. Chest out. Goal! The super duper star with the finish that Collingwood needed. Pies back in front. Collingwood by 5 points. Time on in the final turn. Magpies 10-11, 71. Geelong 9-12, 66.
2 fourth quarter goals.
Yeah.
There you go from DeGoey. And 1 from the centre of the ground, and then 1 from a run through and a handball pass. Just a brilliant play. They've fiddled around through the middle of the ground here for 10 or 15 minutes. No one could score either side. And then it's broken open by DeGoey with speed and pace.
That composure by Nick Dacos.
Nick Dacos was beautiful. Great kick.
Just to pull the kick to Lipinski. Then Lipinski goes right at true centre half forward to Pendlebury. Terrific. It was a bomb kick by Isaac Smith. Bounced and bobbled everywhere. Collingwood able to win it. But it's the composure of the first-year player in Dacos.
25 disposals, 2 goals, 7 clearances for Jordan DeGoey. Back in the middle of the ground. Cam Guthrie could have been held when not in possession. Darcy Cameron squeezed the kick towards half forward. In front, Tui takes the mark. against Lipinski. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Ash Johnson is ready to come back on the ground. It's a right hip. It's still giving him trouble, but he's right to come back on.
Tui straight down the middle. Rowan rises above the pack and claims the mark. Directly in front, 50 metres out. What a contested mark.
Spot on. That was a true contested mark in its truest form there by Gary Rowan. This is his moment. He's kicked 2 goals today. He's had some poor finals for Geelong, no doubt. This is his moment.
It's the time of year every footballer wants to be playing. Can he seize the moment? Gary Rowan from 50, sets fly. It's high, it's long, it's straight. Cats back in front. Gary Rowan with his third, and Geelong take the narrowest of leads. 10-12-72 to Collingwood 10-11-71. 24 minutes gone, final term.
Just outstanding by Gary Rowan there. There's a big win by Tui with the mark. Then Rowan just such a strong contested mark. Tom Atkins 10 possessions in this quarter. Been terrific. Pendlebury 9. Now inside 50s, Collingwood 12-9 this quarter. Oh, look, it's just an arm wrestle. It's moments now. It's absolute moments. We got about 4 minutes remaining in this game. Fundamentals and moments. Who can take their chances?
8 lead changes tonight. Crooked bounce in the middle will be recalled.
Game plan goes out the door.
We're in red time, 3 minutes 51 left on the game clock. Geelong by 1 point. Back in the middle, it's tossed up. Atkins shrugs a tackle, gets the centre break, kicks it deep forward. More spoils. There's Rowan at the drop. Can't pick it up clean. Scrapping for it off the deck. Side bottom went without it. Hawkins has a go. The All-Australian captain tackled. Pack forms. Hunt says, I'll have that. And a ball up, 45 out from the Geelong goal at the city end.
Jeez, we're gonna put the draw into the frame as well. Extra time.
There is extra time played. Darcy Cameron takes out of the ruck. Kicks straight to the boundary line. McCreary off his chase. He might have just got a touch to it, or certainly shown enough intent.
Well, that's the same as the last one, for sure.
Yes. Crowd posted at 91,525.
Wow.
Thrown back in
the stadium somewhere.
Geelong by a point. Blitzhouse knocks it to the front. Pendlebury trying to gather it. Worked out of it. Cam Guthrie. Half pass missed. Blitzhouse who then slipped over to go. He races onto it for Collingwood. Rolls the dice into the middle of the ground. Spots Crisp. He's got Noble streaming past. Kicks it laterally out to Josh Dacos. Marks centre of the southern wing. Plays on. Trying to find a way past Isaac Smith. High kick towards Jamie Elliott. Stewart gets back. Can't take the mark. Noble rushes in. Lays the bump on Hughes. Collingwood have the 3-on-2. Ginnivan little tap to Elliott, who shoved out a play.
They had the
Geelong defence stood tall.
They had the numbers there, the pies. Just Hughes and Stewart good enough just to get that ball over the line, get a restart, reset the defence.
3 lead changes in his final quarter. The lead swinging on the last 3 goals. Geelong by 1. In front of 91,500, 27 minutes into the final term of the quali. Comes down to Josh Dacos, Ginnivan clever, taps it to Crisp, 48 out, Crisp for goal, he's offline.
All squared up.
It's a handy point, as they say in the classics. The scores are level, and this belongs in that set again. 27 gone final term. All knotted up at 72 apiece.
There's still plenty of time for both teams to win this game, Corb.
Zach Tui is gesturing where he plans to kick the footy. Plays onto the back pocket. Long to the members' wing. Johnson's in the pack. Selwood as well. Spills to the front. O'Connor tackled by Sidebottom. And the umpire will ball it up.
So you want restarts in your forward line, your forward half of the ground now, to give yourself the opportunity to score.
Hawkins doing the ruck work against Cameron. Cameron knocked it down to Lipinski. Hand pass inboard to DeGoey, trying to knock it away from Duncan. Onto it, Crisp. Hand pass to Noble. Looks inside 50. Sends it towards Elliott. Run on one with Buse. Buse in front. Couldn't take the mark. Josh Dacos onto it. Fires it into the pocket. It's out on the full. And the Cats will take it up against the left behind post. Mark Blitzer has to take it. Scores locked at 10, 12, 72 apiece. 28 minutes gone final term.
Could they win another one? Could they?
Their last 11 games decided by under 2 goals. They've won all of them. Blitzhalves goes out to half-back. The Magpies, of course, as Howe swats it down. McCreary breaks one tackle. Can't get through the next. Ball spits out to Crisp. Somehow got boot the ball. Whistle away. Half-back for Geelong. Stewart short kick to Cam Guthrie. Links up with Duncan. Spun around. Back to Cam Guthrie. Kicks down the southern wing. Rowan. Jeremy Cameron's there. Rowan's out downhill. Cameron long kick in the forward 50. Rowan at the drop. He spills the ball. Rowan's going to get a second go. Hands it off to Holmes. Cats in front by a goal. Holmes puts Geelong back in front. Hold on to your hats. 29 gone, final turn. The Cats lead it by 6. 11-12, 78. Collingwood 10-12, 72. And Gary Rowan wouldn't let the footy gods deny him tonight. He gets the goal assist and the Cats are up by a straight kick.
Well, he dropped the mark for a start, just cleanly, but then he was backed up again. That's the point. You'd make a mess of that. It doesn't matter his speed and his agility. He goes there and then he handballs it away. Then Close picks it up and finishes it off. But gee whiz, the run and the ball movement and the handball and the hustle and bustle through the middle of the ground. They just want to win, and it looks like they're going to. There's not long left.
That mark by Cam Guthrie was a fingertip. There's a fingertip in that going over his head.
1 minute 21 to go. Darcy Cameron wins down the tap. Straight to Duncan. Kicks towards half forward. Stengel and Sidebottom. Sidebottom lays the tackle. The umpire will ball it up just inside the centre square. Short of half forward for the Cats. 1 minute 10 to go. Thrown up. Blitzouts wins down the tap. Crisp can't get a disposal away. Atkins lays the tackle. Spills out to Jezza Cameron. Hand pass to Dangerfield. High off the boot. It goes straight up in the air. He follows up underneath it. Sidebottom spoils it down. Maynard onto it to Pendlebury. Running out of room. Back to Maynard. Kept it alive. To McCreary. Little fumble. He keeps it alive into the corridor. Close, crucial bump in there. Selwood kicks forward. Dangerfield back with the flight. He takes the mark. Right half forward for the Cats. And he'll soak the seconds here at right half forward.
Not many left either.
Patrick Dangerfield, a glance to the bench. His team up by 6. Kicks inside 50. Howe flies, no mark. Falls through to Darcy Cameron. He paddles it away to Lipinski. Bangs it up to halfway to Collingwood. Time running out for the Pies. Stengel knocks it away to Atkins. Hand pass out to Dangerfield. Handball back into dispute. Blitzhalps grabs it. Mychek's got him, and we got a ball up on the members' wing. Geelong by 6 points. 31 travelled final turn.
One more restart here, Geelong.
Up it goes.
It's over.
Hawkins down to Blitzhalps. Hurried kick down to half forward. It'll bounce into the lap of Howe, but the Cats have beat the Pies at their own game. The Cats win a cliffhanger. They're back to a familiar place, into a home preliminary final.
We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high, from north to dark, down at Gardenia Park.
Geelong have now played in the last 4 preliminary finals, 6 of the last 9, 12 of the last 16 and 13 of the last 19. This team gives you great bang for your buck, and Geelong are going deep into September yet again. What a night at the MCG. 91,525 in to see it. 8 lead changes. Geelong in front at the finish. They win by 6 points.
We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high, from dawn to dark, down at Gardenia Park.
What an absolute treat to be here tonight, or to take it in on ABC Radio, wherever you are across our great land. 8 lead changes. Collingwood up by as many as 19 points in the opening term. The Cats kicking the last 2 goals of the game to come from behind, time on in the final term, and win. Geelong 11-12, Collingwood 10-12. The goal kickers, 3 for Gary Rowan, 3 for Jeremy Cameron, 2 for Close, including a critical goal in the final term. One for Duncan and Hawkins, while for Collingwood, we got 2 for the goalie, 2 for Johnson, 1 for Lipinski, Elliott, Josh Dacos, Chris, Hoskin Elliott and Myercheck. It's Geelong by a goal. They're going through to the preliminary final. Collingwood will be back here for a semi next Saturday night. They'll get the winner of Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs. Adam Romanascus and Mark McClure.
Well, you could just see them coming and they are a powerful mob, the Geelong side. They're to be denied, not to be denied. I tell you, they got their chance. They were in trouble about halfway through that quarter, a couple of goals down almost in a sense, and then they just turned it around. They started to push and shove. A penalty, Selwood got hold of the ball, Atkins got hold of the ball, Stewart was tremendous. Ordinary early, a bit average early, but really good in the second half. Danger started to get his hands on the ball. The experience of this side and the movement of this side and the toughness. They're pretty tough. I tell you, they're real tough in those areas. Look, like 1 point game. I mean, what do you do? Well, a couple of point game, 1 goal game. It's a difficult one to call. I thought they were fantastic, but I also thought that Collingwood were brilliant in what they did. They have come from way back on the ladder last year. In the bottom half or bottom 3 or 4 of the competition, and now they're playing in finals and actually performing enormously. Their supporters should be so proud of what they've done, but they just missed again. They've just missed, and a lot of people know that feel of just missing. It hurts. It screws with your brain, I can tell you, and it happens a lot. But on they go, the Cats, and I wish them luck because they've been in so many final series and haven't actually got a grand final haven't picked one up since 2010. I think it was the last one, 2011. 11, yeah. And that's 11 years ago. But they've put their head up. They keep at it. It could be their chance.
I love football.
I do too.
How good's this final series?
I love it. That was just
brilliant.
It's just edge of your seat. I just couldn't take my eyes off that game. The pressure that Collingwood applied in that last quarter, 23 tackles to 10. Geelong had to absorb so much pressure, so many opportunities. You thought it was the script had been written. You thought, Collingwood will win this game because that's what they've done all year. But then to Geelong's credit, they just hung in there. They hung in there, and their moments. 2 big moments. Gary Rowan takes the massive contest.
Gary Rowan could bang a goal from 50, but drop him up, regather, put his guy on the ground, get it to Brad Close. So
that moment, finished it. His side bottom slips over.
What would you call it? He's a strange player, isn't he?
Well, he kicks 3 goals in a final.
He does. I know, it's unbelievable.
So he becomes one of the difference makers in this game. Atkins was phenomenal in that last quarter. Selwood, Isaac Smith, Max Holmes, Dangerfield. We asked for a lift. They were absolutely terrific in that last quarter, those players. But look, credit to Geelong. They were challenged. They were absolutely challenged in all facets of this game. Pressure, the way the ball was kicked inside their forward 50, what Collingwood did around contest, just locked the ball in. But that's what great teams do. And I said it before the game, it feels different with Geelong this year. I don't know, it just feels different, and you're waiting for somebody to take the moment, and it just happened to be Gary Rowan in this game. So,
and also Cameron.
Yeah, look, credit to the Pies. They were as brave. They'll lose no admirers on that game. Absolutely not. But they missed some opportunities. There's no doubt about that they'll look back on and rue. But this is the beauty. This is why you play 22 games in a season to qualify to get a double chance. So they're back here next Saturday night, and they have another opportunity against Fremantle or the Western Bulldogs. So can they? That game though, that was a tough, hard game. That will take a lot out. Geelong will need the week off to recover from that game. How quickly the Pies can recover from that game? They've laid 85 tackles in that game, the Pies, and lost the game. So
big number, isn't it?
That's 85. A huge number.
It is, yeah.
Credit. I want to give Joel Selwood a lot of credit. I thought he was absolutely outstanding in a game that needed toughness. From the minute he got on the ground, which he started on the bench, I just didn't get that. He showed it in spades. He led this team as he has for so many years in the great play that he is. he was outstanding tonight as a leader and as that hard hunt ball player.
When Jordan to go keep that goal, I had your words ringing in my ears. It's happening again. It's happening again. And yet, I guess that's always been the challenge of the Geelong forward line. If you have a forward line that's stacked with Hawkins, Cameron, Stengel, Rowan, it's so hard to stop them all. And you can have a poor game. Like Tyson Stengel probably wasn't the most dominant in front of goal tonight, and yet you thought all the options are on the table in the last couple of minutes here.
Well, they all were. Anything could have happened, but I think it was the composure of Geelong. I think that won out. Like, there was one bit of composure by Nick Dacos where he gets it and kicks a goal, but I thought in that last quarter, the fundamentals and the composure that Geelong showed out in the end.
So has that been there in the past?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Like, you look at just in front of us here where Hawkins dives on the ball, could have easily bombed that kick, but gives the handball over to Selwood. Selwood could have bombed that kick inside forward 50, but sees Stengel. Stengel then has the maturity in his first final to give a little handball to Close to kick the goal. So just those little moments in the last quarter, I thought Geelong handled better than the Pies.
It's a week one finals victory for Geelong, something they've only done once since their last flag in 2011. They make it 2 tonight, so that's they were 1-8 leading in, so they're now 2-8 in their last 10 week one finals appearances.
It's heartbreaking. 11-12 to 10-12. 6 points. It's unbelievable.
It's a narrow margin.
Oh, the margins are so low and so close, and that's what I love about it. Fantastic. Gee whiz.
So Geelong will face the winner of Melbourne and Brisbane, which all of a sudden Geelong potentially if it gets there, and Collingwood it's the longer road. But I mean, just for the Cats, you're so full of admiration, as you touched on, Rama, for the contested style of footy that they had to play all the way to the final siren.
Well, they won contested football by 21 tonight, so it's a big number in the end. But we're talking about one kick.
It's so rare that any sort of major event lives up to the hype to this extent. But to think we had a week off, sat around to preview these 4 games, coming off one of the best regular seasons and the conclusion to it with Carlton and Collingwood that you're ever likely to see.
Yeah.
And we've had 32 lead changes in 12 quarters of footy, all games decided by razor-thin margins. As Joel Selwood claps his hands together above his head and thanks the Geelong faithful that have crowded around the race. And the minor premiers disappeared down it. They're about to sing their song in the rooms. They're going through to a prelim for the 4th straight year. It is now 12 preliminary finals in the last 16 seasons.
Geez, my heart sunk for Taylor Adams in that last quarter. You could see when he spun to kick that ball. It's great camera work what we're able to receive in a replay. And he just grabbed at that groin straight away, and that looks like unfortunately a season over type of injury for Taylor. He certainly won't be playing next week.
I can imagine the noise when the Cats make their way into the rooms. Tim Hodges is down there for us. The Cats are through to the prelim. They beat Collingwood by 6 points, coming from behind, time on in the final term to kick the last 2 goals and win it. Hodgie.
Well, it's the same as last night. Unfortunately, they don't let the families in until after the song, which I'm not sure why the AFL's doing that. I'm not sure if it's COVID rules, but it's just the media, the assistant coaches. That's the club president making the most noise. So it's a bunch of media. Chris Scott, great scenes. What a bear hug he just gave Gary Rowan right in front of me. That meant plenty. And the Cats, Tom Hawkins will be the last one to enter the song, and they will belt this one out, guys. They are a happy bunch. I reckon there's a lot of relief as well, but they are through to a preliminary final, the minor premiers. Looks like they might be going in with Chris Scott, and we'll endeavour to have a winning player with you very soon, guys.
If they win the flag from here, the Cats, they'll equal the Carlton team of 95 and the Brisbane team of 2001 for the longest win streaks en route to a flag. So that's 14 in a row.
Yeah.
The all-time record is held by those two on 16. So the Cats put themselves in with a slice of history there.
It's amazing how much the narrative could have changed for Geelong if they lost that game, and the pressure that they would have been under next week to then go and perform. So the narrative now is what it was to start. They've been the best team all year. They're through to a prelim final.
It's amazing to find margins in this game, particularly this time of year, that one drop punt either way, and we're talking about the different team, and like you said, the completely different way that you frame it up.
There's one kick between the top of the ladder and fourth. There's hardly a kick between the two games. Every game there's hardly a kick between them. It's just so even. It's fantastic.
And we've got a team coming up next in Fremantle who spent 15 of the first 18 weeks in the top 4. They play the Western Bulldogs, who had to sweat on their place in the finals to the very last day, trying to make a run from the lower reaches of the top 8 for the third time in the last 8 years. Last 6 years, in fact. So that's coming up next. Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs, the elimination final. The winner of that game will play Collingwood next Saturday back here at the G. It's an
Gary
amazing
Rowan going to get the pats on the back he deserves. I mean, for a long time in footy folklore, he's not a high possession player, so people focus on his grand finals where he hasn't fired as much as he would have liked, but from 50 metres out, directly in front, it was the mark rammer, which you were full of credit for, the contested mark, but then it was the finish. You'd much prefer players to seize the opportunity in those moments than potentially the other team wins because the players missed.
You felt like he wanted to be involved in the game today. I think in past games, there's times where, I don't know, it's hard, geez. You just don't know if you want to take the responsibility. It felt like tonight, Gary Rowan wanted the responsibility. He wanted to be, let's call it the hero. And that's fine. That's, in the end, contested mark, the handball over in the goal square to Max Holmes to take the lead. That's two moments that you'll remember as a Geelong supporter. He's had some bad games in finals, and Gary would be the first to admit that, but you've got to keep fronting up, sellers. You keep fronting up, and you try again.
Player. He's an unusual player, and we all understand that, but he has got some talent. Like I say, he's got more talent than his little finger than most of us, and today he sort of pulled it together. He had the unusual drop the mark, go and pick it up again. That's
Classic Gary Rowan.
That's Gary Rowan, So, but he's dangerous because he's quick and he's 6'5" or 6 or something. So, you must have him in your team. He's almost a must-have.
And in a forward line where it's not reliant on him, he can make it happen.
Well, he kicked 3 goals. I think he got 3, didn't he?
Yep.
He did, yeah.
He got 3. Jeremy Cameron got 3. They were the 2 dominant forwards really on the ground, with the exception of Ash Johnson and Jordan De Goey, who kicked 2 in the last quarter.
He was good.
He was trying single-handedly to swing the match Collingwood's way.
It's funny, you look at inside 50s for the game, it was 56 to Collingwood, 53 to Geelong. But you felt like the ball didn't live in Collingwood's forward line a lot. It felt like it was sort of centre forward for Geelong a lot of the game tonight, where Collingwood took their opportunities. But you look at the stat sheet, Ginnivan 9 possessions, Ash Johnson 9 possessions, Elliott 8 possessions, Myercheck 6 possessions, Mason Cox 6 possessions. It's not big numbers for their forward half of the ground.
They actually bombed it a bit, didn't they? They did. They bombed the ball in, and then they don't have any real marking player up there. Probably Myercheck, but he's sort of just a big lump, isn't he? Really, in a sense, and can play.
Oh, no doubt he can play.
But when you size it up against what they've got there in Dangerfield, Hawkins and Cameron and Gary Rowan, that's a different deal altogether.
Yeah. But you've got Jeremy Cameron 17 possessions.
Yeah, I know. That's
3
the
goals
key.
Too.
Exactly.
Plays forward. Then you got Stengel 14, Gary Rowan 14, 3 goals 1. Brad Close 11 possessions, 2 goals 1. A lot more ball for their forward line players.
It was too.
And that's important in games, because if your forwards are getting the ball, well, the ball's in your forward line. It's where it's living. So, look, like I said, they'll lose no admirers, the Pies.
It's a good point, though. They struggle with the territory battle to lock it inside their forward 50. And yet, if you're looking beyond this year, there's some incredible upside with Nathan Kruger coming on and taking a good mark at the start, and you thought he could take a contested mark here in the dying stages and prove pivotal alongside Ash Johnson with a bit of size.
I think they've got to make a call on Kruger for next week, whether he starts on the ground, because Myercheck, he couldn't really get near it today. He wasn't in that competing frame of mind. Cameron and Mason Cox were really non-existent as forwards. So do you need another key forward to compete inside forward 50 to be able to bring it to ground? Because Elliott became the other key forward at 178 centimetres.
Yeah, but they actually just bailed everyone out and left him on his own.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works.
They've been so good at closing in those close games, Collingwood. So they'd won 11 in a row, decided by under 2 goals. And now they drop a game here, obviously by less than a kick.
So a lot of the time when they've been able to get back and win those games, the ball movement started from their defence.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tonight, when they were sort of a goal up, equal, a goal down, the ball didn't start from their defence, and it was Geelong sort of had numbers everywhere in Collingwood's forward line. So I spoke about the fingertip mark by Cam Guthrie when it was a draw. If that goes over his head, there's a Collingwood player directly behind him. It's going back the other way. Guthrie fingertips the mark, goes forward. That's where Gary Rowan gets it inside forward 50, drops the mark, but it's a goal.
Yep.
It's a game of inches in the end.
Yeah.
A game of absolute inches.
And they talk all the time about how it's no accident that they've won 11 in a row, and we've spotlighted it all year, all the good things that they've done. And likewise in the closing stages tonight, Rami, you talked about composure, and there's a few things that they'll look back on and go, these are the reasons why we find ourselves playing a semi-final and not with a week off.
You said it, Sellers. The amount of times in front of us here, they won the ball but then they kicked it straight back.
I agree.
Kicked it straight back
Let me
to
tell
Geelong.
You, how's their improvement been? That's what I look at. You know, I mean, they've played in the final. They've been fantastic. They come here and they go, gee whiz, we failed tonight. So what? By a kick. We're not far off. We've got to get down to working more and get better and better and learn up with some new players and some kids and do what you can do, because that to me is the most important thing. So move on. Let's get going.
11-0 on that run.
Yep.
Geelong won by 13 points in round 3. They win by 6 points in the qualifying final. The Cats.
So who do they play next week?
So Collingwood will play the winner of Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs. Geelong get the week off. They'll play either Melbourne or Brisbane in their preliminary final, which will be week 3 of the final series on the Friday night. The Cats home by 6 points into the winners' rooms. Tim Hodges.
Corbin, Tom Hawkins has been good enough to come straight out of the coaches' meeting and come and join us. We just spoke. That was an unbelievable game. I mean, you weren't aware of it out there. It was, what an epic.
Yeah, well, we had the conversation off the back of, like as a player, it's kind of, it's hard to describe the moment. I mean, 91,000 people at the MCG is quite incredible on its own, and then to have the tight tussle against a really quality opposition. I think it just showed that, 2 genuine top 4 sides, like we've seen in the last couple of days as well in finals football, is makes for a lovely contest. So I'm glad it was beautiful to watch. She was pretty brutal to play in, but pleasing result for us.
I'll let the guys upstairs talk to you about the footy. Can you take us inside the meeting room? That there was everyone from the club, every administrator, even the media manager was in there. What was the messaging from the coach? What did he say to? I mean, it was everyone crammed in there.
Yeah, I suppose just to be honest, was just savour the moment. We haven't the last few years been able to, for one way or another, enjoy those moments. So it was just really good just to get everyone in, take a deep breath, enjoy the fact that we've just won our first final, and then just sort of get organised. To be honest, the boring stuff. Well, not so much the boring stuff, because I love putting the cans on and having a chat on radio to you guys, but just talk a bit about a bit about the game, and then obviously we'll disperse as players and help out and talk about the game.
The boring stuff we'll get to Sellers shortly. Hey, what happened at 3/4 time when you had to run off the ground and down the race?
Toilet break.
It wasn't. The physio went with you for a toilet break.
Yeah. We'll have to have someone to hold my hands. I don't like the door shutting on my own. So, just a little toilet break. I often get into my children about not being able to hold it in, and there I go, running off at 3/4 time.
That's a little white lie if ever I've heard one. Hey, I'll send you up for the boring stuff. Ramanauskas and McClure, take it away.
You would have been happy with Gary Rowan and Jezza tonight. They were terrific. Kicking 3 each.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're particularly late. I think it was obviously those two, and we had some real winners across the field. But for players to be able to take their moments, and I mean, ultimately that's what finals footy is. You're not your destiny's not in one or two people's hands. I mean, we've got some star players, and when they play well, it certainly helps. But for players to be able to have moments, and let's, look, you mentioned Gary Rowan. We'll talk about him. He was wonderful. Took some huge contested marks.
Yeah, he did.
Went back and finished. It's tricky kicking out on the G. It sort of can be quite swirly. So that last passage of play, that 40 seconds that he had, takes a huge pack mark, lines up. I know he's directly in front, but he's kicking the ball 52 or 3 metres, and she sails through. So look, he was wonderful, and as I said, we just took our moments. But yeah, they were brilliant as well.
Yeah, they were very good. How was the crowd?
Oh, electric!
Fantastic, isn't it?
Again, one of those things as a player, it's really hard to explain. But I was walking over just before the anthem, and I historically always find myself next to Mitch Duncan, and we took a moment. I talked about taking a moment to take it all in, but walking up to sing the Welcome to Country and sing the anthem, that was incredible. Looking around and seeing basically every seat taken, it was beautiful to be able to be back here playing finals football. Beautiful for everyone to be able to enjoy our great game.
Hawk, it felt like in that last quarter particularly that you absorbed Collingwood's pressure better. It was 23 tackles to 10 in Collingwood's favour, but your old mate Joel Selwood, who was just simply brilliant tonight, but Tommy Atkins, just how clean he was in that last quarter to be able to get the ball and get the momentum of the ball going your way. It was a phenomenal game of football to watch.
Yeah, those two, I mean, they lead the charge. They're brutal around the contest. They're contested players, and we love playing the game in a contest. But they really set the tone. I thought the game was pretty even through the ruck. I may be wrong, but I thought we once the ball hit the ground, our ability to be able to get our hands on it, win it, and control it, or if not, just take it forward was excellent. I mean, and you mentioned I mentioned earlier like that again. It was players just having big moments. So pleasing when your skipper can do that, along with a player that's really found a position and been so important for us through the middle.
But you got great moments out of your younger, lesser light players, I think, which is important. In the past, I think Geelong have been criticised in finals because those players haven't stood up. But Max Holmes kicks a goal in the last quarter. I mentioned Atkins. Isaac Smith comes to the club, was brilliant in the last quarter. That's, I think, the difference. Is it fair to say that's the difference in Geelong's team this year, that those lesser lights now have taken on so much more responsibility within the team?
Well, that's sort of the way it almost panned out tonight. It'd be hard pressed to be picking your 5 or 6 best players tonight. I talk about. I'll touch on Zach Guthrie. I thought he was
very good.
Sort of almost epitomised that. He's had a wonderful year, Zach, and continues to be a really important player for us off the halfback. The way he can win the ball back. He's. He might look slight in the flesh, but he's brilliant. He can kickstart our defence our attack, and he was great. So. Yeah, pleasing result.
Tom Hawkins is with us on ABC Sport. Tom, it's Matt Clinch. Yeah, you look at the players that missed out, and that's the strength of your squad. You touched on the Gary Rowan set shot. What was running through your mind when he dropped the mark, running back in 50, got up, finished it, gave it to Max Holmes, kicked the goal, everyone's going nuts.
Yeah, I saw Max out of the corner of my eye. Often those situations when you find yourself you're back to goal initially, running back, they can be a bit daunting because you sort of lose a bit of perspective of where the game is, because it's what's behind you, because it's all in front. But he steadied. I think there might have been a couple of little slips on both parties' behalf, but ultimately ended up in kicking a goal, and it was a really important one.
He left Steel side bottom cold. That was all that what mattered. Obviously, a lot of the narrative around Geelong's sort of record in first weeks of the finals. As a guy who's seen a lot throughout your time, how different did this season feel, finishing as the minor premiers, and the changes to the squad that has taken place over the last couple of years?
Oh, look, no doubt things have evolved, but I personally, it certainly wasn't touched on. The past is sort of really irrelevant and almost the past. We wanted to come in and play a certain way against a quality opposition, and for us to be able to push forward and and play collectively really well was really important. So we're very pleased.
Tom, can you hold the cup up?
Which cup are you
what do you reckon, the big one? That's what you're after.
Yeah, we think we can.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, unfortunately, there's what's left now. Whatever there is, 6 or 7 sides that think they can do it and do the same. So we're going to have our work cut out. We'll enjoy resting up the next couple of days, and then we'll obviously get back to work just like we did last week. So I'm sure the week or the next 10 days will be a bit of a rinse and repeat. I look forward to resting up and attacking the game in a couple of weeks' time.
Tom, just last one before you go. So you've now played as a team in 12 of the last 16 preliminary finals. It's an amazing run what Geelong has had over this period. What do you know about preliminary finals to be true?
Oh, well, they're hard to win if stats show that. But, look, I mean, take it how you will. I think it's a privilege to be able to play in big games. I mean, far out. Again, the crowd was electric tonight. Being back on the biggest stage is why we play. We keep fronting up. We keep giving ourselves the opportunity. And we're going to just take that approach into a fortnight's time. We feel like we've got the group. We feel like we've got the coaching staff to be able to win it at our best, but we need to be at our best. So, huge challenge. We can't wait.
Tom, thanks for taking a few minutes with us. Congratulations on the win tonight. We'll see you preliminary final night.
Thanks, guys.
You're
Appreciate
in good nick, you guys.
Thank you.
Tom Hawkins from the Cats, a 6-point victory for Geelong. They had to come from behind, time on in the final term to win it.
You just wonder, Sellers, if this is the game we'll talk about in Geelong's final series.
That's the point.
If they do lift the cup like you asked.
Well, there's nothing wrong with asking.
No. I'm not saying there is, but they just had to get over it. They just had to get this win.
You could almost hear the smile coming through the radio.
Yeah,
he's happy. Geelong are happy. They've passed that first hurdle, the September stumbles they've had. Let's see what they bring on next.
You've got to dare to dream, I can tell you.
And let's see how far away that conversation is if they find themselves maybe in a prelim against the reigning premiers, which they're on that side of the bracket. Melbourne or Brisbane await for Geelong, the Friday night prelim in week 3. The other side of the draw, Sydney sitting home in the Harbour City. They'll host a preliminary final. They'll play either Collingwood or the winner of tonight's game in a preliminary final. It's Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs up next. It's been an incredible night at the MCG. Finals footy back in Melbourne for the first time since the 2019 Grand Final, and 91,525 in the house tonight to see it. It's been a pleasure to have you with us. The Cats home by 6 points. The elimination final between Freo and the Dogs right now.
Did you know that ABC Listen has a little sibling?
Hi.
The ABC Kids